Okay, good evening everyone and welcome to episode 1 of the RHG Gamers Podcast. My name is Blade and with me tonight on the left we've got a couple from Texas. We've got Bruiser and we've got Vixen. Hello guys, welcome to the show.
Yes, delighted to be here. Glad you have us.
And on my right, the gentleman with the finest beard in the world and the number 2 Borat impersonator in all of Kazakhstan is the Reverend.
The Reverend.
Wonderful to be introduced.
Well, hello. Good evening, everyone, and welcome. Episode 1. Just before we get started, I just want to mention our little competition that we're having for the first episode. You will get a free version for Evolve on the PC. If you are the winner, all you have to do is go to red.gamers.co.uk, sign up for the mailing list, and we will be picking a winner on the 31st of January. Okay.
Beautiful. What a giveaway.
What a giveaway.
Really
it's
is.
fantastic.
I read that.
Good start, 2015.
I couldn't believe that. Like, nice, I read it and I was like, is this a mistake? This is something that seems too good to be true. That, that's crazy.
I've entered 300 times already with all of my emails, so I'm in with a good chance,
Fantastic. Okay, so Bruiser and Vixen, if you want to tell us who you are and what you like playing and what you have been playing, what you do, that'd be fantastic.
Absolutely. So I would be Bruiser. That would be my online handle for just about everything. As far as what specifically I've been playing a lot of, it's kind of, I've had a bias again to Skyrim. Call me crazy. Been playing too much of that. I know. I got back into it.
100% with you on it. 100% with you.
A 4-year-old game, though. A title that I hadn't really played as much as I needed to when it was available on the 360. I started dedicating a lot of time to it when I had a PC that could actually run it the way I wanted to.
PC Master Race.
It's been a life suck, to say the least, but it's almost been like rediscovering a new game altogether because of how much different the visuals are. Everything is much more textured. It's just been a different experience, to say the least.
And
but
legendary, all the
yes,
DLCs,
right.
we've never experienced
the DLC.
Those
I mean, it's one of those things where, so many people have kind of come to fruition with discovering that, okay, DLC is not always a full-blown expansion. And then, here I am almost 4 years later, and I'm finding out it's almost life-changing. You're playing what feels like a new title. So, yeah, no, seriously, it's that extreme. But,
especially seeing as you can get, you can get Charizard dragons.
Yes, exactly. You literally, like, with the amount of just mods and the community's so huge for it. I mean, there's a lot of dedication to just bringing new content to a game that is that old.
It's all about posh mud crabs and Macho Man Randy Savage dragons. That's where we're at.
God.
Oh yeah.
Oh no.
That'd be amazing.
Realistically,
the real thing.
Aside from the heavy modding community and things, I think what I typically play though are FPS games, and so RPGs aren't my strong suit. It's just something that I've found a lot of entertainment in recently. So usually it's things like Call of Duty, Halo, all the cliches that most of the hardcore community play. That's usually what I'm delving into. But as far as Vixen here, what are you bringing to the table?
Okay, well, obviously I'm Vixen, and I'm doing this just for fun. I started out with Skyrim. That was my first game that I really got into. Before that, I was a Simsaholic.
A Simsaholic.
I think we've all been there at some point during our lives.
Yeah. I remember being so excited for the weekend so that I could stay up. I literally, unknowingly, would do like 32-hour gameplays, like in a row. I wouldn't do anything else for the whole weekend. I wouldn't sleep. I would just be playing. I seriously, though the farthest I like to kill them, but the farthest I would get through it was like 3 generations. But still, that's pretty good, I think.
Have you had the Sims Epiphany yet?
Huh?
At some point, every Sims player has the Epiphany. Now, I remember a few years back, I was the same. I bought it, and for a few days straight, I was just playing the hell out of it. Mm-hmm. And then all of a sudden, I realised that I'm sending this guy to work to make enough money so I could buy him a new stereo and TV for his apartment, which I should probably be going and doing myself. And kind of once I had this weird epiphany that, like, it's just really doing all the stuff that I should be doing in real life. It's like a life sim. It's just a simulator of real life. And
I
the Sims,
I would use Motherload like no other. I really liked building the houses, and I'll just expand. But anyway, lately, that was my first gaming experience, and then I got an Xbox 360 actually for my sister. And I got Skyrim because my boyfriend at the time was playing it, and I went nuts with it. I just played that all the way out, and I started playing it again whenever I moved here for college, and that's when I met Stefan. And so we started gaming together, and I started watching him play, and he introduced me to Twitch. And I honestly think that he deserves a position at Microsoft to really get into developing stuff. He's so intelligent. It's stupid. But I've been playing Dragon Age mostly. I got that game on a whim because it sounded so awesome, and someone said it was the Skyrim of the Xbox One. So I was like, okay, bye.
Pretty much.
And so I've been playing that, and that game is just amazing. I have as much fun with that game as I did with Skyrim back when I first got it.
Almost got it. We're trying to kill this really pesky fly that's just flying around the apartment.
Fly, he thinks it's a gnat.
It's killing us. Anyway, sorry.
But it'll happen
yeah.
eventually.
So that's what I've been playing lately.
You deserve a job somewhere, dude, just to manage that setup you've got there. I mean, it's insane.
Oh yeah, no, I know it's pretty. It is nice. I mean, it's come along. It's come along in the last like 6 months. I mean, we sort of started procuring things in that time frame. But yeah, the Mac, like we've had our laptops, and that just, we knew realistically that wasn't going to necessarily drive any sort of content creation. I mean, of course, like MacBooks are excellent for basic photo editing and things like that, but gaming, it's kind of the mecca of just about everything computer and PC based. So we figured, why not, and try to go big with it. But
yeah,
definitely.
So that all being said, I guess we'll kind of lay that back over to you guys.
Yep. Rev, do you want to tell us what you do, what you play?
yeah.
Sure thing. So I do. I flit about a lot. So I'll kind of have like a big kind of interest in something for a while and then get bored of it. But this last year, recently, Far Cry 4, man, I loved the shit out of that. Now, I don't think it's as good as Far Cry 3, got to be honest. Apart from the choppers. Love the little choppers. They're awesome. 7 Days to Die. I think, Blade, you said you've been...
Great game.
That now, I left that for a few months, came back, and they've done so much stuff to it. It's insane. Rediscovered that. Obviously DayZ, but we'll probably come to that later. I'm kind of a bit disappointed with the whole DayZ thing.
I've got a fair bit to say about DayZ.
Yeah, right there. Assassin's Creed, I actually went back to Black Flag. I never bothered on release date.
Mate.
Loved the shit out of it.
Best Assassin's Creed to date.
So we're talking Black Flag, obviously after the slew of updates and what have you, but not Unity. Not Unity though, right?
No, I'm not. No, dude. I read about Unity. Yeah, it was because I bought Watch Dogs and the game was like a good game when you could fucking play it. That was really the downside. As soon as it rained, I was like, well, that's just it. I might as well just turn it off now because the frame rate is going to be awful. Skyrim, dude, that's another big one. I got back into that. I had a hard drive die, and trying to figure your way around which mods stop it from playing. That was fun. Had to get wire bash and a bunch of other things. Got that figured out. The big one though, Arma 3 mods, dude. A whole bunch of ones. I'm actually part of a community for Altis Life. It's altislife.co.uk. Biggest UK community. I'm for a mod. Hello to the guys. I've been loving that. Incrementally keep going back. I've been in the police force and all kinds of stuff. Really sad, immersive.
He's talked about in-game here.
Yeah.
He's talking about in-game.
At 35, he probably won't accept me anymore anyway. But Blade, I'm distracting from what the main man's been playing.
Well, I mean, I like FIFA. What can I say? I don't like FIFA. I love FIFA. Well, I haven't always liked FIFA. I was into Pro Evolution Soccer before that. Up until about 2008, I was a Pro Evo boy, and then it's like the development teams switched, and Pro Evo just went downhill, and FIFA fucking skyrocketed. In fact, the most expensive game I have ever bought to date was the original Pro Evo before it was actually called Pro Evo. It was International Superstar Soccer 98 for the Nintendo 64, and if you can guess how much I paid for that game in pounds sterling, then I will probably buy you a copy of it right now.
Oh my god!
Oh, that doesn't sound like a good thing.
So
how much is that, Rev?
What's the median? Okay, so what's a high game in pounds at that time?
New
the
games
sort of price,
around 40 quid.
Yeah, you're looking about 40, 50 quid for a game now.
So, oh no. See, I feel like the question is a trick question because you may have paid much less than you would have anticipated to in the 90s?
Now,
Or are we
considering
thinking at a high?
in 1998 I was 13 years old,
Oh,
so
God.
I had to save up for a long, long time to buy this game.
I can't even imagine. Okay, so and it was a cartridge, but then again, you guys.
It was a
the
cartridge, and
difference in-
cartridges were more expensive as well.
Yep. That and the currency difference, I can't even begin to imagine. You basically paid twice what we would of American, essentially. So I mean,
$72.99.
Unbelievable.
what'd you pay? So an American dollar, you probably paid like
About $100.
about $100. Yeah, I was gonna
Yeah.
say $80, $90, $100
probably
American,
shade
pretty
more.
much.
Jesus.
But
Unbelievable.
that got me into I love football anyway, but it got me into love of football gaming because it was so much fun, and I've just been doing it since. Obviously, I've been doing other stuff as well. I'm quite big into my space games, Elite Dangerous, which we'll talk about in a bit, I should say. It looks as though it's going to be fantastic, and Star Citizen as well. I've spent about 4 or 5 years of my life in the Eve pit, being completely consumed.
Congratulations on escaping.
Yes, and you know what? I still get temptations. Now, I've uninstalled it from my computer about 4 times in the past month, because I've downloaded it, and I go to resub, and I'm like, no, don't do it.
You just can't do
Don't
it.
do it.
You've got a missus and a kid and a job to keep, you know.
I think crack is more socially acceptable as well.
I think it is, to be
Probably
quite
is.
honest.
Yeah, no, honestly, yes. Hard drugs are definitely going to be more socially acceptable than than any sort of PC game that addictive. No question.
It's true.
Other than that,
Just interesting, you said space games.
yes.
Have you given Space Engineers a crack?
I haven't yet. It is on my list of things to do, and I keep hearing good things. I had Total Biscuit talking about it the other week. He was, raving about it. But no, I haven't tried it yet.
I've not played it in a while, but those guys update it's like twice a week or something. I go in and it's updating
Really?
Space Engineers. It's ridiculous, yeah. I've not played in a few months, but
Is
either way.
that available? I'm assuming that's a Steam title, I would imagine, right?
Yeah, it's
Steam,
kind of like a Minecrafty sort of in space
Yeah.
thing, isn't it?
Yeah, it's
Interesting.
kind of
Is it? Wait, it's not actually 8-bit, is it?
No, it actually looks okay-ish. If you imagine sort of Gravity
Ish.
meets Lego meets Minecraft, that is what it is. That's
Okay, yeah, that's not bad. I mean, that'd be
cool.
interesting to play.
But
Definitely.
yeah, it's different. It's different. But anyway,
it does sound good fun. But yeah, I mean that's about me. Obviously got my YouTube channel, and I do Twitch about 2 times a year. If you guys watch last year,
when
That's
you
fair.
said that, you actually twitched a little bit.
I did twitch.
a physical twitch to accompany the twitch. That's very good.
Although I did double my followers when I did my live stream the other night, which I was quite happy about. I went from like 10 followers to 20. Yes, living the
that's-
dream.
I mean, that's
played.
impressive, though. To be quite honest with you, the slow climb at Twitch,
did-
especially after you've
can't
had.
What are you talking about? You guys have got hundreds.
Yeah,
And-
but I mean,
and
think of it this way: with the Twitch community, and this is just kind of a side note because I realize we've got a lot to delve into. But with the Twitch community, it really is it is hit or miss. I mean, it's not so much about the content you bring. I honestly think more than anything, all the gameplay aside, because naturally people want to see good games and they want to see them played by interesting people. I just think you have to be able to. You have to be able to conversate, and there's not enough of that on Twitch. I mean, there really is not. Frankly, the smaller streamers, the up-and-comers, it's kind of like the music industry or the film industry. People want to see what's next. They're not worried about the people that already have, 200,000 followers. They've been making content so long, you're kind of just a number again. You know what I mean? So it's that vicious cycle, and I think the up-and-coming streamers are the ones that are going to drive this business even further ever since Amazon acquired the company,
Just like
a couple of years ago. So
Damn
I mean, it's
adverts, though, man. Damn adverts.
it's up and coming, man. It's not even at its peak yet. Like right now, it's not even where it could go. Twitch is not there yet.
And I agree with you completely there. I mean, people keep talking about when the YouTube bubble is going to burst. I can't see that happening.
No,
not
not
really.
quite yet.
But Twitch, I think, is just going to explode. And
Yeah,
I
it
actually
definitely-
think it's going to get more in depth. I can foresee it, editing wise, giving you more tools to do that, so you can actually edit direct. Because at the minute, it's cool that you can clip it, but I think there's going to be a lot more sort of editing features, so you can edit directly from there rather than having to sort of record at the same time.
Right.
Mhm.
Oh yeah. Definitely. I couldn't agree more.
yeah, so it would be useful in a way if you could. Can you download your?
Export,
can you
yeah.
download your streams once you've
Yeah,
done it?
you
Yeah,
can export
Yes.
it.
but can you But then you can't edit it and re-upload it.
No, I
What
don't.
you can do is you can highlight the stream and then take that edited version and you can export it. If you don't want to take like, say you stream, like sometimes I do, I'll stream for 4.5 hours on Dragon Age, you know,
making one character.
Take snippets from that.
That and, for example, if you have a capture card, so we have the Elgato HD60 that can simultaneously basically
Surprise.
it offputs it. Yeah, I know, right? Like, God forbid.
And we're going to get a hard drive. There's going to be another thing.
So basically what we're going to do is we're going to get a probably a terabyte hard drive, start small, and with the Elgato programming, what it'll do is it'll offload every recording from any gameplay, PC, the Xbox One, etc., it'll offload it simultaneously while streaming. So it'll be automatically rendered with our overlay and everything to that hard drive and for direct upload to YouTube. So
That's insane.
It'll be efficient. Yeah, it'll be an efficient thing for sure.
Microsoft is called, Boozer. They want you.
Yep, they're calling now, actually.
Yep, $20 million contract we've got here, right here.
Right.
You just need to sign it. I'm your agent, by the way, and I want 20%.
There it is. It's official. It is official.
I'll take 10. You know, I'll put it away. Sure.
Just 10%. That's not that bad. Nah, no big deal.
It's not. No, it's not.
Yeah.
No, we're all good. Are we going to be talking about the GTA 5 delay as well right about now?
We're getting there. Yes.
It's been staring me in the face, and goddamn, man, I want to.
Well, and it's something I do want to talk about because I have, even in my head, I have very conflicting thoughts about this. Part of me, well, there's that one, and there's also the Resident Evil 2, Resident Evil Revelations 2, that has also been delayed. That's only for a week, but they're both for the same reason that the devs have said, is that they need to polish them more. Now, obviously, the GTA one is a big one. It was meant to be out in, 12 days? And they've pushed it back until fucking March.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you do realize that we're coming off the, I guess what was like, the 2013, 2014 years have been like the precipice for the defining era of delayed AAA titles. I mean, there hasn't been any other years in history of gaming that would have the average consumer spending and prepared to spend $60 several months in advance for all these pre-order debacles, only for the game to come out and be a complete and total train wreck. I mean, so that that goes without saying for GTA 5 and the whole reiteration of the HD remastered version for the Xbox One and the PS4. I mean, they look great, don't get me wrong, but I think for the PC, it's a little confusing that, well, at least they came forward, I guess, on a side note, at least they came forward to admit it's not just a port. It is not a port.
Yes, agreed.
That's the good thing. That's the good thing.
I'm glad.
Sorry.
Go on, Bench.
I was going to say, this is a game that I played this on the Xbox a year and a half ago. It'll be a year and a half by the time it's released. It was out November last year. No, not last year. The year before. Like, that's insane, man.
It is, that is. And I agree with you. I when it came out, I purposely didn't buy it for my 360. My girlfriend's parents bought it for me for Christmas, and I felt obliged to play it a little bit, but I've only probably put 2 hours into that game on my 360 because I don't want to. I was waiting for the PC version because I knew it'd be so much better. And I'm not a game dev, and I don't really, know the ins and outs of all this stuff. But one thing I do know is that all these things are designed on PC in the first place, right? So why is it so hard? Surely they should just make it as good as it can be, and then tone it down for the consoles, rather than making a shit version for the well, not a shit version, you know what I mean, a toned down version for the consoles, and then having to put extra work in to soup it up for PC gamers.
Well, hey, I'm all about PC gaming master race, dude. We should get that period.
Yeah, it makes sense, but the initiative, you have to realize, is that the industry's loyalty lies in the hands of where there is not only more commercialism, but I mean, as much as the EU population enjoys their console, the EU population, I hate to say it, you guys are primarily PC gamers. And here in the United States, it is a lot of go Microsoft, go Sony. I mean, for God's sake, you look at the sales numbers, and we're talking PS4 alone. In our country, for the United States release, mind you, we were the first release before the actual country that manufactures and owns the rights to the product. Yep. I mean, that's mind-blowing. But you look at the sheer sales numbers, the United States gaming community wants consoles. We want simplicity. We want ease of use. We want to sit down and we just want to play the console, put the disc in, and we're done with it. We don't want to have to worry about graphics and upkeep and maintaining a rig, and so on and so forth. So it makes sense that they would try to be like, well, let's prioritize as you said, a shit version, essentially, because that's what it is. Let's be real.
It's like a watered down version of the actual game. When I saw Skyrim on PC, it blew my mind.
Right. Yeah. So that's a small consolation to that. So I mean, I agree. You're absolutely right, but it goes without saying, it's capitalism at its finest. Or consumerism rather. They're wanting to make as much as they can off us in lieu of, let's make the best version. You know what I mean?
The thing is, though, Watch Dogs, that never should have been released when it was released. So I'm kind of torn on this whole argument, man. On the one hand, goddamn, I want to play it. But then again, DayZ, now I don't want to look at the game right now because I'm so sick of the stuff that they've not done. And so, with GTA, as much as I want to play it, and by the way, Blade, the first 2 hours are nothing. About 10 hours in, you get to play as Trevor, and Trevor is he's probably one of the best characters in any video game ever.
But this is also an issue that we've got, is that although I haven't played the game, because it's been out for a year and a half or whatever now, I've seen plenty of YouTube videos of people playing the game, and I know half of what happens anyway. So that side of it is slightly ruined just because of the length that we've had to wait. And it's not so much the wait, it's not the delay that's bothered me too much, because I would rather wait and play a final, finished, polished game that is as good as it can be. It's not going to need to be patched on fucking day one or anything like that. You know what I mean? Huh. The thing that winds me up about this...
There are none.
What?
The thing that winds me up about this is that they waited till 14 days, 2 weeks before it was actually meant to be released, before they said, hold on, we need 2 months more work on this. Surely they knew that ages ago, and, they wouldn't have got our hopes building up.
I do have a friend that works at Rockstar Lincoln. Hi, Ryan, by the way.
There you go.
Name drop in there.
Yeah, hey,
hello,
dude.
Ryan.
Hi, Ryan. Send me free stuff, thank you.
Yeah, free stuff's awesome. We love free stuff. So obviously, I have to be sort of vaguely defensive of them, but personally, I think it's the right decision. I know they've left it to the 11th hour before saying, "Oh, we're not ready."
That's the only thing I'm criticising them for, by the way. Everything else is commendable.
Yeah, great work. GTA 5 is exceptional. I mean, are you kidding me? Yeah.
I mean, the other side of things is they could be Activision.
That's also true. I mean,
this isn't finished. Buy it.
That's the thing.
We'll patch it later. It'll be fine.
I mean, you saying that though, the parent company is a primary reason. I mean, for God's sake, they come under fire every year, and they're constantly in the top 10 worst companies in America. For God's sake, I mean, aside from the obvious fact of them just being Activision, and they're like, okay, we're going to shove more DLC down your throat for other games that no one plays anymore. I mean, if you think about it, look at Destiny, a $500 million advertised produced title. And it was, I got to tell you, it was an utter failure 2 months in. 2 months in, people weren't talking about it. So with GTA, I think what they went with here, Rockstar and Activision probably wanted to use all the hype behind CES as an excuse to debut gaming news. And the news was, hey, well, here's some really pretty shots of the game you're not get to play for a fucking 2 month period. And then I'm like, well, that's a bummer, but it's the reality of it. I think they were just using CES as a way to sort of make it seem a little less harsh. You know what I mean? Because CES is great. You hear so much about new tech news and you get game news every now and then, but it's understandable, the delay, but it is a huge bummer. You're right. I mean, this long, it's tragic to wait this long. It really is.
That's how I feel about DayZ though right now. They the flip side is they've released it and it still ain't ready. And that's had a year and a half. So you can't win. Truth be told, you cannot win.
No, not at all. I mean, even with for example, and she plays Dragon Age, and what you had
no one
that.
fucking cares about it.
Right. Well, that's the thing. Is it a game that is really well polished? as she's saying, I mean,
so well done.
So
well done.
No one cares, and it game of the year for the at least the North American side pronounced it game of the year, and it gets no attention. I mean, the DLC was great. There haven't been any bugs, and the ones we have seen are so minor that it doesn't require some 1 gigabyte day one patch and then a week later another patch.
I don't think there's been an update for that game.
There really
because
haven't.
You don't need one.
Yeah, there really hasn't been a substantial
forbid.
update. Yeah.
Thinking about things, right? When we're talking about day one patches and having to be, continually patched, that is just something that devs have got the privilege of nowadays, I suppose. It's easy. But thinking back to a day when that didn't happen, when games were solid when you bought them off the shelf.
Oh, yeah.
And I have to say, those were Nintendo games.
Yeah,
honestly,
actually, yes.
Nintendo don't make bad games.
That's true. I mean, even for example, granted, in this household, we aren't exactly the biggest supporters of Nintendo's initiative.
I'm not anymore.
Not anymore. That is correct. Not anymore because, granted, even a few years ago, this would have been, 3-4 years ago, I had a couple of Wiis, and they were phenomenal. I mean, they did what they needed to do. They were great. The games weren't buggy. Harmless, good time fun, and even now with the Wii U, you're seeing major console launches alongside of a game like Mario Kart 8, for example.
Yeah.
Huge, did massive numbers, no issues. Where you know what I mean? Where can we get that?
Aside from Zelda, I'm so meh about Nintendo. It's unreal. Yeah, that's
I probably am. This is the thing. I probably am now. That's the thing. I have pretty much no interest in Nintendo at all, apart from Pokemon.
It's because the marketing route they take. They squarely, from the Wii especially, the Wii was like their big sort of revolution. And basically, they marketed that straight at families. It's what you can play with your nan and your little nephew, and the whole family can get involved. And that's not really.
Yep. When in reality, I was just using it when I was getting absolutely hammered, and me and my mate
We only ever used our Wii remotes besides just the one when me and my sister would play Mario Kart. The only other time we would use it is everyone was drunk enough to want to play.
There you go. Yeah.
So
wholesome family fun.
Most people, their Nintendo owes them a 42-inch flat screen TV at some point too.
Yeah, actually, yes.
Right in the middle.
The nightmarish videos you find on the internet for that. Good lord.
That is how it is. But also when people were looking for more performance and power, they were coming out with, we've got a novelty controller, and graphically it was no better than the previous generation of consoles. So
but if you think about in correlation to how, for example, again, just getting back to the GTA delay, that's frankly what it is. You think about, look at the PC specs and the recommendations categories in the last 16 months has almost doubled what companies are expecting your PC to be able to do and to push in order to run these games. So with GTA 5, that's no exception. They're like, well, everybody else is making their game so phenomenal and 4K is all the hype and all the rage right now that the industry is like, well, we'll delay the game and at your cost, we'll put, 10,000 more developers, coders, and testers to work, and when the game's ready to go 4K at 60 frames per second and everyone's machines have to be twice what they are now, then we'll put the game out. That's a nightmare, because it makes us feel like as average gamers, if you will, we don't have sponsorships. We don't have the opportunity to get the latest and greatest. So how on earth is it that I'm expecting to run GTA 5 if it's going to be that exceptional looking? I can't complain.
You something to strive for, though, right?
Yeah, I suppose. But it's just more of this, and that's...
Always, man.
Yeah. The minimum specs for GTA 4 was actually quite lenient, I thought. A lot of GTA 4, did I say? GTA 5, obviously. But yeah, the screenshots that they released yesterday were fantastic, and you're obviously going to need an absolute beast of a machine to be able to get that sort of performance.
No question.
But it's going to look better than my fucking 360, so...
that's the trade-off. You're absolutely right. You're going to pay to play. There it is. If you want to have the best, brightest possible looking image and the best frame rates, you're going to pay to play. You're going to get the game the way that they see it to be fit, but it's not going to be the game that the average consumer is going to need. Right.
And if we get fucking terrain pop-up, I'm going to kick off. I'm telling you right now. GTA, that's what slays GTA for me. terrain pop-up. Jeez.
That's what I really loved about GTA 4, though, is, and this is going to sound really sad, was the video options menu, because it actually told you how much like video RAM you had, and when you changed the sliders, it actually told you how much of that you was actually using, which I thought was brilliant. Yeah, I mean, what sort of, no other game that I've ever seen does that sort of thing. It's just like, choose your, medium, high, ultra, whatever, and then you have to see whether it's going to work or not. Whereas that pretty much told you, yep, you've got like 500 meg to play with here. Just bump some up a bit.
One issue that's always been skirted is, where the fuck is Red Dead Redemption for the PC?
Where is Red Dead Redemption? I agree with you. There is probably a good reason. It's amazing.
Wasn't it supposed to essentially be what they were developing around the concept of GTA Online? I know, because Red Dead Redemption for a while was allegedly code name Online, like Red Dead Redemption Online. It was going to be a similar concept of just this massive multiplayer world, similar to that of what GTA's online kind of agenda is. That would have been amazing. I would play that.
Well, you say that, but then look at Elder Scrolls, man. I loved Skyrim. Elder Scrolls Online fucking sucked.
I'm glad we didn't. I'm glad we didn't waste money.
I tried the closed beta, man, and I was expecting. I wanted it to be Skyrim, and it wasn't. It was World of Warcraft.
No. It was World of Warcraft with a different skin.
And $8.99 a month, so you're going to pay 60 quid for a game, which I think is what it was. Now they've dropped that.
Yeah, that's true.
And then it was $8.99 subscription a month just to play.
Do you want to allegedly they're talking free to play now, though.
So it's going to happen. They keep denying it. Do you know what they? Right. Okay. So first of all, they took off the 6-month subscription option, right?
Right.
Which is a big fucking sign. They reckon that they took it off because not many people used it. It's like, well, what's it costing you it being there? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Nothing.
The game sucks.
Yeah.
Well, there's that.
About a week ago, a load of stores started taking physical copies off shelves that came bundled with game time and whatever in the box. And they reckon that was due to restocking after Christmas, which apparently is a completely normal sort of thing to do. Just get rid of copies of games that you should be selling. So yeah, I think in the next 2 or 3 months, that is definitely going to be going free to play.
I agree.
And then I might look at it.
Pay it. Until they pay me to play it.
Yeah.
I mean, but even then again, if we're talking strictly PC releases, there's so much coming up that it's not really going to matter. I mean, GTA 5 will eclipse a lot of online RPGs for a while to come, until like The Witcher, obviously, things like that. And of course, we'll get to that. Yeah,
Witcher is going to be amazing.
But that's like
Vixen likes The Witcher. You could tell.
Yeah. Oh, I know the excitement. I know. That's the truth, though. Is it's unfortunate, and I think, as you said, just going back to it, it's one of those things where there's never going to stop being controversy behind product delays. I mean, it's just, we live in this time where this is okay. Mm-hmm. Why is that being made the norm? You know what I mean?
You're getting your money either way.
Yeah.
It's true, but I would sooner have something that's actually finished. But I think as time goes on, people now are so much more impatient than they were. We've got the broadband's never fast enough. It doesn't matter how quick your machine starts up; it could always be quicker, and you want to improve performance, and I think obviously delays. People just get ticked off.
Yeah, I think we've also got a lot more bigger games, I suppose, nowadays. A lot more, open world. Online of like
time games.
Yeah, exactly. Games that you can never realistically finish.
If it ain't sandbox, I don't want to play it generally. No.
Well, that's the thing, and that's the thing. And sandbox games have got so many places they need to keep rebalancing things or whatever. I understand that there's got to be a lot of work involved in doing that, but I do miss the game where you could the time where you could just walk into a shop, buy a game off the shelf, and that's it. Job done. You went home, you play it.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Absolutely.
You play it, you finish it, you go to the next game.
I mean, how annoying it is, especially like console games, because there's so many day one patches for console games. You go to a shop and buy a physical copy of an Xbox game. You go home and put it in your Xbox, and you've got to wait half an hour for the day one patch to install.
True.
That and the installation.
Exactly.
Yeah, but the other side of that, and the thing when you think about it, the logical thing is a lot of games get leaked and pre-released, so you've got people downloading them and playing them. I swear to God that developers are like, fuck you, take a broken ass game, we're going to patch this on day one, and you're still going to be playing stuff.
Did you guys
without heads?
Yeah, download this torrent, bitch.
Did you guys hear about it was Far Cry 4?
Yeah.
the developers took out some of the graphical options in a pirate. So it came out on Steam. They had a day one patch, but the patch put these options back into the game. So if they'd have pirated the game, they obviously didn't get the day one patch from Steam. So a lot of people started bitching on Twitter and whatever. Saying, where's the field of view slider and whatever, and they're going, well, you lot are a bunch of pirates because you've stolen the game. I mean,
I think one of the devs tweeted out and said that, well, if that issue's happening, then you stole our game.
I mean, that's fantastic.
Yeah,
they should do
it's
more.
A good way
of
to go about it.
I totally agree with this shit. I mean, who hasn't got broadband now? And if you haven't got it, then you probably shouldn't be playing games. You
really shouldn't. I mean, you should put some support behind something like this. I mean, it doesn't make any sense to really be pirating games. I mean, multimedia, like, for example, music, we've all been there, but that's music. That industry's dying anyway. Everything's going to be digital or DRM. Yeah. That's over with. But as far as gaming, come on now. If you expect better games, you're going to have to be putting that money forward for the publishing company, for the developers, the testers, the man hours. There's a lot that goes into it, a hell of a lot more than producing an album. I'm sorry. I'll put that out there. That's true.
I'm steering clear of this debate.
Yeah, well, but that's just, maybe that's perspective. I can't say I know enough about what goes into really either of those processes, but let's be frank here. A game development team, for example, the size of Bungie's, we're talking hundreds of employees. The manpower and to pay off what they went to school for is far more substantial than that of producing the next Justin Bieber album. I hate to lay that out there, but
that most stars nowadays will have their own studios in their home anyway.
Right. Exactly.
They're not paying ridiculous amounts to rent time.
Right.
Oh man, you mentioned Justin Bieber and just put me off music.
It's broken. You're right. Those two are not synonymous with each other. Yeah. His name and music, but
Let's
regardless,
throw that away for 2015.
pop culture. We can we'll edit that out. We'll find a way. We'll cut that whole section out.
If that section stays in, the rest of this is going to be shit, don't you?
I'm gonna get flamed. They're gonna be looking for information to find out where we are because that's just not a good reference. Not at all.
No, he's coming after us.
I'll tell you for $50.
Healthy debate.
I'll leave my PayPal in the description.
There we go. Boom.
But
getting back. Sorry, Benj. I just want to mention something before I forget it about in the past 4 times that I've forgotten it in the past 5 minutes. Getting back to what you were saying about really needing broadband nowadays for gaming. I remember the big thing about before the new gen consoles were released that people were kicking off that were saying that there's going to be online only, and it's like, who seriously isn't turning on their Xbox or PlayStation 4 and not going to connect to the internet?
I think there was a different side to that though. I think it was the whole
you on about the Kinect?
Kinect, yeah. Like the whole NSA Xbox Kinect can pick up on your emotions. And there was
but that's the thing. You got to see this though, is that this is what it came with the mount. So for example, this is a cover for the camera. It came with the Kinect mount. They made this for this exact reason. This piece by itself sold for $25 on eBay, on online market. They can still hear you. Piece. I didn't buy this for $25, so don't fear not. I didn't get suckered into that.
That's ridiculous.
You can get a packet of blue tack for a fucking quid, and they'll last a lifetime.
Just cover it. Just cover the lens with anything.
Darn, not effort.
Yep. Oh, look at that. You can use a thumb. You can use a thumb.
Oh my god! It's just like if you cover the lens, no one sees anything.
Crazy.
You need to pay in that, mate.
They can still hear what you're getting up to, though. So hey.
Oh yeah. Well, because they want to know.
Can't prove who said it.
Well, from what I've seen,
our government.
From what I'm seeing, all they're going to hear is you telling your Xbox to undo what it's just done when it's thought you've said something.
Stop pretty much. Listening.
I'm telling you, the amount of times. They had to allocate all that fucking RAM just to the Kinect. We're talking 2 gigs of it by itself, or what more specifically they're calling 10% of allocated RAM goes just to the Kinect, running consistently in the background like an application you cannot close. It's like a virus. That's a bad habit, and that thankfully is going to apparently be dealt with here in 2015 when they give all the game devs the options to do away with the SDK for the Kinect. That's going to be great, but that's a whole different ball of wax.
That's a fantastic comparison, comparing it to a virus. I like that. It's like you expect it to pop up saying, "Click here for naked ladies."
Yeah.
Do you like young Russian ladies? Come here.
very specific.
Well,
Yep.
they've been obviously been looking at my internet history, but
Oh, I love it.
anyway, Evolve.
Oh my God.
I think we need to
Yep.
talk about Evolve.
Oh
because-
yes, Evolve. I can't actually say enough.
I can't play it. I
See,
haven't played this game. I
that's-
haven't looked into this game.
It's currently my splash screen on the startup for my Windows computer. I found really excellent graphic art. Just basically,
Yeah, that's actually cool.
in one image, it details what the game is going to be all about.
I
Which,
wish we could show these.
as far as the game itself, though, she watched. Okay, I downloaded the beta. She watched maybe like passing by clips of me playing
Yeah,
it.
I wasn't watching.
I hate to say this, the beta that was on the Xbox One was subpar.
Yeah.
So as far as console experience, was not that great. But well, actually, correction, that was the alpha. Let me reiterate, that was the alpha. So as far as the closed beta, I think that could be a very different experience. And from what I've already seen, a few of the bigger Twitch channels streaming some content, it looks like it's been an improvement tenfold. So.
I got an email. It's everyone that was in the big alpha, I think they call it, wasn't it? Is that what they call
the
it?
big alpha.
I think everyone is getting back into it for the beta. Is that correct?
Hoping. I mean,
I got an email. I got an email yesterday or the day before. Right, now this is what confused me slightly, because I'm pretty sure that they came out saying that the closed beta was going to be an Xbox exclusive. Correct?
Interesting. Now, if that's the case, that's unbeknownst to me, because I was expecting.
I don't
was
think that's
expecting
true.
a closed beta.
Well,
to take
I'm
on-
sure I've heard that somewhere, but the wording in the email that I got makes it even more dodgy, because they weren't calling it a closed beta on the email that I got. It was called a technical stress testing or something like that.
Interesting. Maybe it's network specific, like for the Azure servers on the Xbox Live system. Like they want to be able to
Nope,
really
open
put it
beta
to the.
is exclusive Xbox One.
Okay, disregard that.
There we
It's
go.
exclusive. So then that settles it. I mean,
The
But-
testing will be for
so
server load.
then, and that kind of takes you back, though. If you think about what we were just connecting there with the previous points for monetary gain and product loyalty, there it is. I mean,
Yes.
Microsoft is the leading in not only competitive gaming, but where a majority of the funding lies in gaming in general, for shooters at least, for shooters. So think of it like that. I mean, they're like, oh, well, Microsoft, we're prepared to offer you this much and dedicated servers, quote unquote. So maybe that's kind of what they're working with. I don't know. I don't know what their lead offer could be.
It is a bit of a lie, though, because
Send me that page, babe.
it's still a closed beta at the end of the day. Whatever they're calling it on PC,
Yeah.
that's what it is.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah, babe.
it's the full game.
Like voice talk.
It's the
Yeah, I
full
mean,
game
it's-
that you've got access to until launch day, and this starts like tomorrow. So you've got just under a month.
Oh yeah, no, I mean, and that's really, I mean, with the amount of time that you're talking about investing in a game that is supposed to be, you know, when it made its premiere at E3, and it was supposed to be this really next gen, and that was the phrase, right? Everybody loved to use that phrase. That was getting
Yep.
overused for probably just about every game in the last year or so, but they really were calling it next gen, and so the way the game plays, it's nothing new, but as far as why it would be a closed beta, there has to be some sort of exclusive. I hate that the word is being used. It makes it really redundant that they're calling it an Xbox exclusive. What I'm assuming is that probably means what? What do you think? Maybe, what do you guys think launch window time frame? Maybe a 4-week limited exclusive to the Xbox? Maybe at launch? Maybe that's what it could be.
Could be. You
mean-
never know nowadays.
Yeah, I mean, you're right. I mean, that's the thing, is that even look at, for example, and we'll delve into this later, but just kind of a side note is that No Man's Sky, I'm assuming, I can only assume, that Sony made them a really great offer, obviously swept up Hello Games with some money, showed them what they could do when they a partner with a big publisher. But I'm willing to bet Microsoft, a big player in this game as well, could show up, I don't know, 3 months down the line and say, hey, well, we would really love it if you would render your game for our system as well. You know, I mean, I'm just throwing that out there. So it happens.
Exclusivity is something that I really don't agree with. I don't think, because at the end of the day, they are punishing the consumers.
No, they are. That's exactly what it comes down to, is they want to fuel the console wars, and again, that's a whole different thing altogether as well.
Those
But
consoles, you know, it's the same with like Drake's Fortune. They've got a new one coming out this year. And I
Right,
love
right.
the shit out of those games. But I'm
course.
not a PS4, or a PS whatever it is, PS4 owner.
Right.
And I won't be buying a PS4 just for that. But people will, and people do.
Mm-hmm.
And
course.
that's the entire reason that this goes on. In terms of Evolve, I've not been blown away with what I've seen. I'll be honest.
Yeah.
I don't feel like I'm like, wow.
No.
I mean,
not as much as you would like.
when you cut it down to its bare bones, it is basically Left 4 Dead, but the zombie. When you can have humans playing as the zombies as well as the things, but you're just playing a huge kraken or whatever. I mean,
That's
what I'm looking forward to.
Yeah, the dynamic is really nothing new, and entering what they're calling an exclusive beta for the Xbox One, again, it's just another marketing ploy for a game that is going to run half-ass on an Xbox One compared to the way it would on a PC. I mean, there's no point. If you want to stress test something for its capability, I guess for like raw power, then the PC is where you would go. So as far as the Xbox One, it just proves to me again, it's going to be some sort of ploy to be like, hey, you should pre-order our game because it's going to come with more levels, additional characters, more wearable avatars.
I don't think that's what the stress testing is going to be for. I think it's going to be for the server load their end. So
Yeah, that's-
how many they're going to be hosting, how well it'll run under a full load, and all that kind of stuff. I think basically that's where they're
No,
going to be
I agree
going
with that. Yeah, I agree with that aspect of it. I mean, if it's literally being referred to as a stress test, then yeah, they're wanting to test server load and offset and resources and things that it would require. But I just think, again...
That's surely what you have a closed beta for anyway.
Yeah,
Or an open beta.
Yeah.
It's...
Yeah. So,
They
I mean,
just
I
said that,
just think
and
it's-
Battlefield 4 failed on that. They were having all manner of problems when that was released due to not being able to matchmake and all that kind of stuff, and that was because basically it wasn't properly beta tested.
Right.
And that's the other side of things. I kind of feel like, gamers get het up and angry about the fact that we don't get games when we're told we're going to get them, but then when we do get them on the dates we get them and they're broken, we're way more pissed off than we would be if we just waited the extra few weeks.
You're right. I mean, there is fault on both sides. I agree. Fully aware. I agree with it.
I mean, because that's the day one thing is what I just don't want to see happen. At this point, let's put it to you like this: all the the game's good, the game's bad. We like what we see. We like how it plays. All that aside, with 2 technical betas and possibly a third before the official release, because who knows, we may see one more sort of premiere before the release, but not on the public release side. That if you have that many betas or an alpha and a beta, there's no excuse. Day one should go off without a hitch. I hate to say it,
definitely.
But if you're having tests and they're public like this to this degree and this magnitude, it should speak for itself when it launches, or at least you can hope. But that remains to be seen.
The problems, I feel bad for you, son.
Yeah, I mean, it's just one of those things where I feel like the game. Rev was saying it's not mind-blowing. I haven't seen anything that's made me just go, wow, this is a must-have to my library.
I agree with you, but I think it's going to be a hell of a lot of fun, especially if you get a group, if you get a group of 3 with you, and you're all working together as the humans, it's going to be a great laugh, I think.
I mean, I almost feel like, though, with that being said, I would have rather had them prioritize Left 4 Dead 3.
Yes, I agree with you, and that's what I'd prefer to see too. But
that would have been amazing, because it was nothing
I'll take
like
this until
until
it comes.
I remember those late night grinds in Left 4 Dead 2 when that game was at its peak of popularity. My God, I couldn't put it down. No. So
the only issue with that is that, and this probably is another discussion for another podcast at some point, Blade. But God damn it, zombie anything is at saturation point right now.
Yeah,
you're like, the bubble is going to burst, and like when it bursts, we're going to be like Walking Dead's going to be gone. Like every I mean, what percentage of games come out now with zombies involved?
Quite a lot.
Call of Duty, the new Call of Duty, they're just releasing the latest big old update add-on. Zombies again involved in that. Man, I ain't complaining. I love me some zombies, but Jesus, they're fucking everywhere.
Yeah, exactly. But that's kind of the point.
They're everywhere.
That's.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, though, if you think about it, it's bigger than zombies, though. Without getting all philosophy, engaging here. I'm not trying to bring all that into it, but it's just more of like we're obsessed with, what is it, the post-apocalyptic culture.
Yeah.
I think that's what it is, like a dystopia.
Ever
I mean,
since
more
Fallout.
than
I mean, even before then, probably.
Yeah, I mean, Bethesda. You got big studios like Bethesda producing games that they're so focused on the gritty, grimy times and the come up. You know what I mean? So whereas like zombie games, I think more about. So for example, H1Z1. I honestly think from what I've seen and what like you read about where the devs are going to take it.
That's a good segue, by the way.
Yeah, there it is. Segue. So I think with what that is kind of aiming towards, they're looking to make it about the dystopian future, incorporating zombies being in that world. And that's more of I think it's a narrative rather than just a mindless, oh, there's a dead person or an undead, shoot them and then move forward and shoot more of them.
I think it's more acceptable to make it that way because then it would be redundant. But if you put different apocalyptic like environments with it, it changes the game somehow, even though it's still zombie based.
Right. Oh yeah, I agree. But that's that's saying a lot, like with H1Z1 and how that's eventually going to make its debut and going to be something that is going to have to rival the likes of all of the zombie hype right now. And I wouldn't even say there is as much as there was back when Treyarch's Call of Duty was out with that rendition of zombies, because that was incredible. I mean, Black Ops 2 that was a masterpiece in terms of zombies gameplay. But still, going back as far as Left 4 Dead and when that originally hit the scene, H1Z1 needs to really make me feel what I felt then. Because even looking at DayZ, I'm like, okay, so this looks like an Arma 3 mod. I don't care that much.
That's the problem, I think. And I mean, DayZ just hasn't moved to distance itself from Arma enough. It wants to be a standalone. It's still using the same map. I mean, that's the big problem for me. Is that it just looks exactly the same as it was doing when it was a mod.
Do you know? I have to disagree to some extent. I think DayZ. Now I played me some serious hours of DayZ. I got a whole bunch of people into PC gaming because I waxed lyrical about how much I loved it from the Arma 2 mod and all that stuff. And do you know? I think Dean Hall ages and ages ago. This was they said like what have you taken from Arma in terms of like your the rendering and all that kind of stuff. And obviously the map's the same. Granted,
sure, yeah.
Although they've done a lot to update that. But apparently the sky was the only thing. And like I play me a lot of Arma 3 in various different mods. Like the minute I've been playing Arma 3 Epoch, which is kind of like the DayZ but for Arma 3. And I'm telling you, if you put them side by side, if you're running Arma 3 and then DayZ is gorgeous at the side of Arma 3. Arma 3 is still this fucking clunky kind of ropey, but it's so moddable and there's so many good games. As a platform, it's amazing. But DayZ, the big problem is just how slow they've developed it.
And this is the problem. And now, I mean, it wasn't too much of an issue before because you've got a lot of like DayZ clones, they were calling them, were starting to pop up all over the place. A bit like your 7 Days to Die, your smaller studios. But now you've got someone like Sony on your backside with H1Z1. I mean, they need to up their game big style, or else it's going to be game over, I think, for DayZ.
Right.
From what I've seen. And right now I keep checking in to see if it's been released yet, and it hasn't. But H1Z1, I'm guessing they're going for the gameplay side of things because honestly, graphically, it ain't a patch on DayZ standalone.
Have they given any sort of, enlightenment as to what the future that could differentiate Z1 from DayZ holds, like development-wise? Like, is there a real promising updated future?
This one's going to get finished.
Oh, there we go. Well, that's good news. I mean, see, that's...
Maybe.
Hey, I know, shocker.
You
exclusive, world exclusive. You heard it.
World exclusive, finished title, done.
A year and a half ago, we'd have been saying the same damn thing about DayZ standalone, guys. So, hey,
that's true.
You just mentioned Dying Light, which I'm pretty sure you're keen to get onto, Blade.
Yes.
It's something you wanted to discuss. And I'm actually, do you know what? I'm genuinely, of all the games coming out this year, this is one that I'm probably most stoked about.
Me too. I mean, I'm really excited to see how good it is going to be. I like Dead Island. I'm not afraid to say that. No, I understand that it had a lot of problems, and a lot of people didn't like Dead Island at all. But I did, and this looks as though they've took Dead Island and made it better, and given you parkour as well. Which
it's Dead Island with parkour, isn't it?
Hardcore parkour.
Parkour.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I mean, well, that, and it looks like a imagine playing almost what was it, Mirror's Edge, and be actually having more interaction with NPCs in a way that feels more first person than even Mirror's Edge did. I mean,
the difference is Dying Light looks good.
Yeah, that is the
Mirror's
big
Edge
difference.
was
Is the game
horrible.
looks playable and exciting, and like, there's going to be some thrill behind the story and just generally your character. But I mean, I got to tell you though, from what I've seen in, here's my fear. You know how when you go to a film and you see a trailer, and the trailer has just provided you with every important key aspect of the movie? When I've seen gameplay, so for example, this would have been back when I believe it was PewDiePie had played the game first. I want to say he was given a closed exclusive first, right? So he plays the game, and I watched this quite some time ago, and then, you know, I've seen more streamers and people get, you know, a bit of an exclusive to play. I feel like I don't know what else could even be in the game. It seems like everything has been revealed.
I know exactly what you're saying. It's like,
Yeah.
have we seen the good bits?
That's,
and is the rest just filler? And that's my fear as well, because I love Dead Island, but it was one that when I first got it, I played it all the way through and didn't particularly enjoy it. And then I bought it again, played through again, and the second time I would have like a few weeks off, and then I'd go back, and I enjoyed it a lot more. And I think it was because the gameplay was actually quite limited. It was a big game, huge game. But once you kind of got into the nitty gritty of it, it was the same sort of missions.
Yes,
right,
it was.
Go over
it was
here,
definitely.
collect this. Oh, there's something else over there. You've got to go and collect that. And I'm a bit worried Dying Light's going to go that way, where it's going to be a lot of those pointless sort of like go to NPC A, pick up something and drop it off at NPC B.
Yeah, I mean, it goes without saying. That's what I mean when I say I think that's all we have seen, and that's what worries me. Is it all we're seeing is what the game's going to entail? I mean, that'd be a bummer. I'm hoping not, right?
The day and night cycle, I think they've put a lot of thought into that. Well, not a lot of thought, but it makes a lot of difference as to what time of day it is. Like in the day, you're pretty safe.
It's like playing Dead Rising 3 kind of gives you that same element of understanding, like, hey, at night they're going to be more vicious or more, you know, kind of versatile in terms of how they're going to attack you. And I mean, that's awesome. It really is. Like, it's very different than anything I've seen. And I'm just hoping that, like I said, I mean, I hate to be a guy who's very narrative driven when it comes to games like that, but there's going to have to be something that sets it apart. I mean, there really is. Because even game, you know, zombies like for Call of Duty, I mean, that is such a versatile, so open world for just about any casual gamer to pick it up, that if you pick it up, you sit down, you play it, you enjoy it. Now, if for example, Vixen were to just join me one night to play Dying Light, do you think it's friendly to the casual gamer, I guess is kind of what I'm wondering. You know what I mean? Like, does it seem like a casual game, or is that more aimed towards those who are so fluid with the motions of being able to aim like a first-person shooter?
Which is not me.
You know, and that's what I'm getting at. Is it you know, if there's so much influence with parkour, is it enough to make the controls really simple and fluid?
Well, exactly, and that's
gamer?
the thing. You're right there. You know, adding the parkour and that into, if that's going to end up being a big element of the game as well, it's got to be made pretty easy to do.
It's just part of it. I mean, Assassin's Creed and things that they nailed the controls on that for me. And it didn't matter whether you were casual or hardcore. I mean, I'd play a lot of games, but you know, Assassin's Creed got it right. It felt intuitive, and I mean that's just down to
Assassin's Creed. I think their parkour or their version of such a thing was really easy to play. I liked playing Assassin's Creed. I didn't like that I didn't have a giant broadsword on my back all the time.
No broadswords.
Hey, you get big swords. You get dual swords. That was even better.
I know.
Yeah.
Well, I didn't
It's all
get
about
far
dual
into the game
wielding.
before we sold my Xbox 360.
Well,
for my
that
Xbox
and
One.
also the option of the beautiful first person and being able to really feel like you're wielding it. But that is incorporated though in Dying Light. So that could be something that, for example,
that I would like.
That you would
I
like.
liked
It's
Assassin's
just-
Creed. The Xbox One came out right when I finally got the balls to buy it. So.
Well, that and then the next one that came out, Black Flag, we weren't like super stoked on going out to get
I
it.
wanted
But
to play through all of them.
Seriously,
the whole
when they
storyline.
when they said that they was going to make an Assassin's Creed and you was going to be a pirate, I needed a new pair of jeans.
You were just like, oh my god, it's gonna be
Yeah.
crazy.
I thought that was great, but then at the same time, I thought that Assassin's Creed 3 had really sucked, and the boat elements hadn't helped. But then Black Flag, I loved that game. That
they
was
did well with it.
awesome.
And to just bridge to 7 days for a second there,
okay.
Going back to the day-night cycles, that game terrifies me at night. When you're holed up in an attic somewhere and you can just hear it's the sounds that they make. It is terrifying.
It is an incredible game, but I'll be honest, I nerfed the night zombies. It's just too much. It's too much.
No,
you
no,
can't. I can't cope with
Okay.
it. Yeah, luckily you can sort of.
Do you want a pro tip?
Go.
What I was doing, right? You find a house that's got an attic, obviously, and then you smash the shit out of the roof, and then you just climb up out onto the roof, and then hide there until the sun comes up.
Oh my
and
god!
you're pretty safe.
See, that would be frightening though. Just thinking about the sounds and just sitting there while all of that is happening around
because
you.
there's no light either. Well, I didn't have any at the time. So if you've got nothing to smash a hole in the roof with either, you're stuck in this attic that you've blocked up with like a sofa piece that you stole from the living room on your way through. The zombies are like swiping at, trying to break through the floor and whatever, and screaming. It is one of the most intense.
Well, I mean,
sounds.
do you think, speaking of how the zombies, like their mechanic, the AI and the NPCs, or realistically any sort of AI in Dying Light, do you think that they're going to be more of like the George A. Romero zombies? Like they're obviously, from what I've seen, they're fast and they can be fast.
That's
Very
what I want to
fast.
see.
The thing I'm most excited about is the hordes. And this is what you couldn't get on the last generation of console because they simply couldn't handle it. But
Yeah,
actual
absolutely.
hordes of zombies where you kind of you look across the road and it's just wall to wall Zeds.
Yeah, see that right? Because even with on Black Ops 2 Maximum, because I kind of considered myself to be a bit of the Black Ops 2 master in zombies. I mean, on the Ascension DLC when that map came out, the highest run we had, I think my team and we ended up getting to like round 61. So I mean,
that's high.
Ascension we had it mastered because you could round them up. You could round them up, and the most that the console could handle on screen were 28 zombies, 28 exactly. So that was all that was allowed on screen. So you knew, okay, clear a wave, they respawn. But on Dying Light, I mean, if we're talking hordes, it's going to end up looking like that Brad Pitt film that he just did, where you see the wall of them. I mean, that.
Yeah, World War Z.
World War Z.
Jesus,
Is that World War Z?
Frightening.
Yeah. So I mean, the concept of them being fast.
Game.
Yeah, no, right. I mean, yeah, that's what I'm saying.
It's so horrible.
That thinking about that is very exciting. I'm actually kind of looking forward to seeing what that'll look like, but I don't know what to expect. I'm a little worried and hesitant maybe to buy it at launch. But apparently, Blade, are you going to have that on launch day?
I probably will. I probably will. I mean, were you looking 27th in the US and it's the 30th in
30th
in
for
Europe.
you guys. So definitely stream because I'm going to need opinions on that. And naturally, I know everybody's going to be quick to want to rain down all the praise because it's new.
Yeah.
But try to avoid falling into that category for the love of God. That's all I
plus,
ask.
it's probably going to be the only decent game released this month. That's the big picture.
Yeah, actually, you're right. I mean, I would agree. I can't really think of anything else that's that really has promise for me. And every other title that I've even been looking forward to at the beginning of 2015 has now basically become like a quarter 2, quarter 3 game. I mean, that's the reality of it. You know, you hear about the release date. You may as well just start having games that just say TBA by them, period. That's it. Just, here's the game, TBA. I mean, if you're...
Follow me on Twitter.
Yeah, right. Follow us on Twitter, and we'll keep you updated, because that's the only way you're going to get an official word. But,
Coming soon, trademark.
Yeah, there you go. Coming soon. They've just produced a name that's not even trademarked yet, and there you go. Here's an idea. But I mean, that's the fear, right? Is they talk about like the holy grail of games, something like The Last Guardian, and seeing a game on console very popular, and you want something that bad, and it's just never going to come to fruition. That's what worries me about some of these games. You know, I mean. But as far as Dying Light, it'll be interesting, and I'm excited to see somebody get their hands on it. And Blade, if it's going to be you, then I'm trusting your review. To be honest,
On Twitch, then.
We'll see.
Yeah.
We'll see what
I'll
happens.
be playing that shit. I'll Twitch that as well.
okay.
You mentioned copyright there for a second. I don't suppose you saw in the news about Blizzard's Overwatch.
No, I didn't. No, I didn't.
Well, you've heard of what it's going to be, the Blizzard's first-person shooter that they're working on, that everyone's getting excited about.
Yeah.
Well, it turns out that the name Overwatch is already patented by some mobile game developer. So they've either got to chuck a load of money at them or change the name, I suppose.
Let's think about it.
World War Z, for instance.
Here's Blizzard, right? So out of the frame, and then there's mobile game company with said name. Forget about it. Blizzard's got the money. I mean, there's no question even. I mean, if you've got games like League of Legends developing their own network, for God's sake, and they can find a way to afford doing that, I imagine for a name, if they really want it and they're going to put the money behind it.
And then that's where it comes down to, I think, is how much do they want this name? Is everyone, I mean, it's not even close to being released at all yet.
Like, are we even in love with the title?
Yeah, exactly. They've got plenty of time to come up with something else if it's going to cost them what they consider to be too much money, I suppose, because, let's be honest, Blizzard aren't short of a few bob, I wouldn't have thought.
Yeah, I'm not sure their pockets are thinning anytime soon. I don't see that happening. I mean, for God's sake, they about reeled her and I into playing World of Warcraft for a little bit. We even considered it. We thought about it, but
we avoided the bullet.
Yeah, we just can't. We can't feed that demon. We just can't feed that demon. And it's not even about getting roped into, throwing our lives away. It's an expensive hobby, and that's coming from two people that have a very expensive hobby sitting around us.
Yes.
But that when you talk about a game, that to me, and I've said this to her before, is that the way that her and I look at like putting value on these things is not only longevity, but what it's going to cost effectively per use, right? Mm-hmm. You sit down at your computer, guys, what are you thinking? You're like, oh yeah, or what do you sit down and, for example, Blade, you're wearing Sennheisers. It doesn't matter how much those cost you. Let's say you put I think you're wearing Sennheisers, are you? Yeah, okay. So you're wearing Sennheisers. So you look at, and we have Sennheisers as well. We love the brand, great audio. And that's the thing is that if you look at it and you're like, you know what, I'm going to spend X amount of money on that. What is it going to be worth daily? If you use those headphones even 3 times a week, there it is. There's the return, and you haven't put any more money into it. You know what I mean?
Like
so it's like how you're justifying the purchase. But with World of Warcraft, her and I talked about it, and I mean, we watched it. It's just it wouldn't be a smart investment. I was discussing the popularity and the hype behind a lot of the games on Twitch because. There's almost a science to it when you look at the communities, and you can only hope. So, for example, if we're talking top 3 games in 2014, if we're talking that, think of those top 3 games and explain to me, where are they on Twitch? They're nowhere to be found in the top 5. They're not being played. So, in your opinion, for example, Blade, fire off to us your top 3, like what you feel as if not even according to ratings or reviews, but based on your time playing it, what do you think were your top 3?
Right, so I've got 3 games. 2 of them are completely open-ended. They're not finishable. One is, and it's the only game that I've finished this last year. I've not completed another game at all. Number 3, I'm going to go for FIFA because I just love FIFA.
There you go.
That's pretty obvious. Number 2, Hearthstone. I absolutely love Hearthstone.
Okay.
It's we have to figure out why people like Hearthstone.
We don't understand it. So give us kind of what about it is so enticing? I mean,
well, I used to play Magic the Gathering when I was a kid.
We did get that.
We did.
Yeah, I spent a lot of time playing that. There weren't a lot of people I knew around here that played it. There was only probably 3 or 4 of us that I knew, and obviously it's quite a complex game. That is. Yes, correct. We're doing a gaming podcast, man.
I know.
He said, "Have at it." Yep, go for it.
Hearthstone, they've just took Magic and made it simple, and not too simple, but they've made it simple enough so that everyone can play it and get on with it. And I love that sort of game anyway. I mean, it's fantastic. There's a lot of randomness involved. There's not a great deal of skill, but it's a great game, and I've spent hours and hours playing it. And it's just one of those games as well that you can have in the background. You can be watching a film. You can be playing Hearthstone at the same time.
Okay, and that's actually so casual, lighthearted. It reminds me of like the Peggle of card games.
Yes, it's exactly
the animations
sort of
and it's all very fun and it looks like it'd be. I mean, but for me personally as a viewer, that's where I fail to see the hype. That's about all. That's the only thing I'm saying.
Now, this is the thing, because it has actually got quite a following on Twitch, hasn't it? Hearthstone. You get quite a few people watching people play Hearthstone. And I haven't got anything.
We're having a battle. Who's the cutest?
No.
But yeah, as you were saying, I mean, it does tend to get such a huge following, and it's funny is that I actually watched a video. Strangely, I don't know if you saw news on this, but Kotaku. I don't know if you read Kotaku by chance, but Kotaku had a story about one of the top sponsored professional players for Hearthstone with a pro team was beat in the Chinese servers by a brand new player with a starter deck.
And it can
he
happen.
was beat in a matter of minutes on his stream.
Yeah,
in Hearthstone.
Because that's the thing with card games is it's all luck of the draw, really.
Yeah,
you know,
that's
I mean, I can't believe that this thing's gone pro anyway.
Yeah,
but
that's right. I know.
As much as I love it, I still don't watch people playing it.
Yeah, no, that's where I'm at a loss. I mean, maybe that's the thing. Is you're right. Maybe from the perspective of a player, it could be entertaining for some individuals to watch, but for someone who does not play the game, I simply don't see the appeal.
Hearthstone's like the third most popular.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
It's always in the top
crazy.
5 on
Yeah.
Twitch. Yeah, it's always in the
it.
top 5.
Maybe I should start streaming it. Because
Right
I mean,
now,
I'm telling you, if you enjoy it, Blade, I'm not even kidding.
I just don't see why people would want to watch someone do it.
You know, and that's the thing is that I got to be honest with you. Just last night, Vixen and I were kind of tuning in just for a late night binge, and we were sort of looking at some of the I was looking at overlay examples, things like that, and we got into the Call of Duty stream. And here's the thing is that we started seeing small channels just for the sake, well, aside from the fact that they could have been getting view botted.
I think they were getting view
They
botted.
could have been, but here's the thing is
like
just
50 people with
for the sake of these new channels popping up on Twitch, these new content creators, right? They jump into a game that even has 5,000 people viewing. You are already in a pool of a chance being far greater than when I play Skyrim. And look at me, for example. In my month of being on Twitch, all I have played is Skyrim. And I have 300 followers, and that's right. I normally
play Skyrim until this point.
Right, and I normally never play RPGs or any sort of anything related to a storytelling narrative for first-person games. I'm usually playing shooters. I have not once jumped online and played COD or Destiny while streaming, and those are games that right now constantly have right about 10,000 people viewing. I mean, and that's the thing is that when you look at how quickly you obtain people viewing just for the sake of it being a popular game, it kind of makes you wonder, is that the key to success on Twitch?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But getting back to your last title, I believe it was.
That's correct. Number 1, my top game of 2014 is Middle-earth: Shadow of Mordor.
Shadow of Mordor.
Why not?
Okay.
I'm begging him to play this game.
So again, notice.
I bought it for him.
Notice, yes, we have that title, and I haven't even put collectively between the two of us. We probably put 6 hours into it.
Oh, you need to.
I want to do a complete playthrough on Twitch, but no one gives a shit about it. I hate to say it. No one cares about it, and it is such a good game. Yeah. It is so well put together. I mean, how on earth could you not want to play this game?
Yeah.
It is. I mean, they took Assassin's Creed. They took the best parts of that, and they took the best parts of Batman games.
Right.
They shook it up, and they chucked it into the best, scene setting that you could ever imagine. That is
Lord
Mordor.
of the Rings lore. I mean, there's amazing.
Yeah, it was great. I loved it.
Such a bummer.
The Nemesis system as well. The fact that you can actually, have rivalries with certain orc leaders. And I did. There were some that I still haven't killed in the game that absolutely owned me every time I chase after them. It was a fantastic idea, and it really paid off for them. And like I say, it's the only game that I actually finished to the end last year. But I do play a lot of open-ended games, so that doesn't really mean a great deal, I suppose.
So then, okay, Ben.
Oh, the one detail I really liked about Shadow of Mordor that made me go buy it, I pre-ordered it online while he was still sleeping, went to the store, and I did a store pickup, came back while he was still sleeping, and then woke him up and showed him Shadows of Mordor. The one detail that bought me out on it was one of my friends who plays a lot of games. I think he should be doing podcasts and streaming. He got Shadows of Mordor and posted that he had a rivalry with an orc leader, and every time he did an eye wound to him in one fight, and the next time he saw him, there was a scar across from the eye wound.
It's
and
fantastic.
It remembers your previous battles, and I was like, all right, got to get this for Stefan. I need to watch him play this.
I did not know that. I've been avoiding this game.
Yeah,
I mean, just not fussed, genuinely didn't care. But that is a cool feature.
Oh, it's fantastic, and
it's seriously exceptional.
They remember
it
you
really
and
is.
You see the things you did.
They do. They literally remember, and actually, it's not just physically. The dialogue is unique.
Oh, it's
in
amazing.
nature to the previous battle.
It's really well put together.
So if you ran away, if you was getting beaten against a guy, like next time he sees you, it'll be like, "You're gonna run away, you little maggot." And stuff like that.
Exactly. That is exactly right. Like they're intuitive enough to know based on how your playthrough is going, what your tendencies are as a player. Like that's awesome. You couldn't ask for more in Middle Earth than that.
Oh my god,
there.
you know I'm a coward. That's amazing.
Yeah, exactly.
Exactly.
How did you know?
That is the best. That is the absolute best. Okay, so then Rev, I guess for you, give us what you think would be, same kind of deal, top 3, 2014 if you could think.
2014. Do you know? Always go back to Skyrim, as you mentioned earlier. It's weird. I can go months and months, but I still go back. But last year, man, 7 Days to Die. I have to say, another one. I do keep going back to that. Far Cry 4. Thoroughly enjoyed that. Kind of kept going back to it. But I kind of feel like I'm not fussed about that anymore. Done, finished.
So wait, it doesn't have replayability. You don't think?
Not as much as I think, because I did Far Cry 3 to death. I had that on, I think, both consoles, and then I bought it again on PC because it's like so cheap now. But I don't. For me, other than maybe the choppers, there's not enough to distinguish between Far Cry 3 and Far Cry 4. I actually think Far Cry 3 has a stronger narrative, better characters, personally. But if I was going to pay £3.74 on Steam or 40 quid.
Yep.
Far Cry 3 is
Far Cry 3 all day.
All the way, yeah. I mean, and that was awesome. But to be fair, for the most part, and I've had things like Titanfall, I've played an awful lot of things. There was Batman as well, that was cool. But I always end up going back to Arma 3 mods, truth be told. And Altis Life. That's the one I to be honest, I keep revisiting. So for
you, it was more about, like, instead of bigger releases, it was more about just games that have actually held your attention for replayability.
Yeah, and I think, and for different reasons as well. I mean, like with Altis Life, that's a role play server. I never thought I would be a role play gamer because you kind of in your head, and you're kind of like, well, that's World of Warcraft right there, and I'm kind of fundamentally not fussed about that. But this is awesome. Ended up signing up, training up to be a cop in the game, and all kinds of stuff.
That's the trade-off.
I mean, and there's a ton of ways you can go. You can make money, and you can buy all your guns, and you can do all this kind of stuff. But at the end of the day, you never know what's going to happen because it's real people. And I think that was sort of the theory that was going to happen in DayZ. You never know what situations are going to arise. But quickly,
you pick DayZ.
No, DayZ I can't have in there because I've lost a lot of love for that. But the appeal in the early days was that when you engage with players, you never know what's going to happen, but inevitably you just get shot and your shit taken. That's pretty much how that works out. What about you guys? Like in terms of.
So what do you think?
Okay, I mean I know what my top 3 are, but I have to branch out a little bit more. Of course, Dragon Age.
Yes, absolutely.
Dragon Age, and then I really like Child of Light. That side scroller was fun as shit. I loved that game. It was so much fun. We had so much fun with that game. Plus, it was a glitch that we even got it in the first place. We got it for free, played through the whole game, and then it disappeared.
Yeah, it disappeared from our Xbox One.
Games. Yeah, completely. Because we weren't supposed to get it, and so when it went on sale a few weeks ago, or a month ago?
Yeah, man.
A month ago, I got it for like $7, and it's such a blast.
Yeah,
and
it's
then
exceptional.
I would say my second game is it's between Skyrim and Sims 4. I haven't really been playing Skyrim because Stefan's been playing it so much, and I hate him so much for being level 41 and I'm level 10.
Yep, I've been excelling.
But I've been playing Dragon Age, so
that's true. Yeah.
So I've been kind of leaving him with that. But I'm actually, after this podcast, I'm going to stream Sims 4 for 6 hours.
Sims 4.
I'm doing a 6-hour stream for that. But that's really easy. I mean, I couldn't do it for less than that, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure I'd be God damn it! I gotta finish what I was doing.
Yeah, pretty much. That's how you get. You
I'm
just
not
get,
done with the house yet.
you just get sucked into that realm. I would agree. But that actually, going on her bit about Child of Light, that was actually Ubisoft's most
Great.
underrated title.
So
period.
great.
I don't care what anyone says. I will put that up against everything they released in 2014 and say the Child of Light was so underrated. No one saw it coming, and it is the perfect blend of a side-scrolling adventure with a lot of gameplay. I'm talking 20 plus hours
much.
meets Final Fantasy. I mean that
It's really fun.
you can't beat that.
And you rhyme for like a week later after you play. Like
That's
during
true.
all you do is rhyme because all the
The whole
dialogue
story-
is rhyme.
Yeah, the whole
It's all
story's
rhyme.
dialogue is rhyming text. It's
so
brilliant.
Fucking funny.
It's brilliant.
Awesome. And there's one bitch in there who cannot rhyme. She can't rhyme,
And she
and
just ruins
everyone's correcting her the entire game because she just doesn't know how to rhyme stuff.
It's such a good game though. Like if you guys haven't actually even watched gameplay of it, it's remarkable. You don't think much of such a small side scroller, and then it ends up blowing you away. Kind of the way that Limbo did when Limbo came out. Everyone was like, "Oh my god, this is so different. It's dark and it's a really light and fun, like easy game to play." But side scrollers are getting so much. I guess you could say of an audience now that bigger developing teams are wanting to start projects for side scrollers again.
Yeah, it was like Max Curse of the Brotherhood and Final Fantasy smushed together.
Yeah, absolutely. Because Max is also
And
great.
The graphics were just really very unique. I thought they were really unique. It looked like a painting the whole time.
Yeah, it was an exceptional
I
game.
really liked it a lot. But yeah, and then I'm gonna play Sims 4, so I'll put that as my third for today.
There you go. And then as I guess for me, I would say top 3 would have to be, and I'm gonna go off of instead of making it playability or replayability, because Rev kind of did. He chimed in with having a game that not necessarily came out in 2014, but more so got like his attention. I would say mine would have to go to. God, so many broken games. It's gonna have to go to broken games. I don't understand this. That's the problem. Is it?
But this is what I was going to say to you about Child of Light. You're saying it was the best thing that Ubisoft did. Everything else that Ubisoft released last year was absolute broken mess.
Yeah, it was a
so it
broken
wasn't
mess,
really much
exactly.
of a competition. But
yeah, no, you're right. You're absolutely
well
right.
done.
And
You
it
got
was
one
by-
right, Ubisoft.
Yeah, and it was. I think it was actually by one of their offset studios. It wasn't even Montreal. It was somebody else that doesn't even necessarily. Yeah, it does. They don't handle the load that Assassin's Creed is. But I guess to start, I'd say number 3 for me would have to be. Let me think. What did I really put some hours into that I
Destiny.
definitely enjoyed? It'd be Destiny. Number 3 for me would be Destiny. It was enjoyable enough, and it launched. The grind was so invigorating for me because it had been a while since I had played a game that incorporated the MOBA style grind, but in a first person way. Because first person games are what I excel at. There's no question. And I loved having and then when the raid hit, oh my god! Don't even get me started. The raid was all I could think about for like a week and a half until I finally beat the first raid, Vault of Glass. And beating it is so rewarding because once you master it and your characters were at that level cap, it made the raids feel the way that I guess the players do on World of Warcraft for the longest time. You're scheduling it with teams. You're wanting to get everybody online, and it's just
there was a schedule.
Yeah, and it's rewarding. You get the gear, everything. It shows for the hours you put in. It showed in what you got out of it was rewarding. So it was definitely the grind was. Yeah, the grind was worth it though, and I loved it, and the game was great. But as far as storytelling, it was amateur hour. I think I beat that game in 4 hours.
Yeah.
It was.
Wow.
Yeah, it was
really
so
anticlimactic.
so bad.
I'm very interested in Destiny, or the concept of Destiny, and I'm just hoping that by the time it does come out on PC, which it will do eventually, I will guarantee you that. Another World exclusive.
Exclusive.
But
I mean,
that there'll be enough content there then to make it worth playing.
Because Bungie and Activision are talking a definite 10-year game. It's just right now the game was so ambitious that it didn't even know what it wanted to be for itself. And that's the thing is that I think when Bungie bit off more than they could chew by trying to describe what Destiny is, they started describing it in some weird cliche nature by saying, oh, well, it's whatever you want it to be. And that's That's the problem, is you're not really providing a new user an idea on what they can expect. But so I'd say number 3 would definitely be Destiny. I mean, it's well built, but it's still flawed in so many ways that it doesn't make me want to go back to it. You know, so it's a love and a hate. And then I'd say 2,
and that made your top 3 of the year.
It did.
A game
Exactly.
that
That's what I'm
you
saying.
don't want to
They're
play.
all going to be broken games. That's the problem. So 2014, in a nutshell, is the year of just pure fuckery. There's too much of it. And so.
Agreed.
So I'd say number 2 would undoubtedly have to be, I'm trying to
You
think.
spent a lot of time playing Watch Dogs at the beginning.
I did. Number 2 would
spent a
probably
lot-
be Watch Dogs. I put 60 plus
It was
hours into
before
Watch
we lived
Dogs.
together,
Me too.
Yeah.
And, like, seriously, when I wasn't there, and half the time when I was there, that's all he would play.
Yeah, it would
that's
be
all
Watch
he
Dogs.
was doing, and he was showing me, because I thought it was really fun to watch.
It was. I'll admit that. And that's the
So-
thing is that what she's getting at too is that it's so interesting that a game that I was so heavy into the grind and had that momentary lightning in a bottle obsession with
So
can so
awesome.
quickly be ridiculously terrible to me after I've completed it. I'm not even kidding. I've never had a game go from being so innovative and feeling so different to being like, why the hell did I buy this?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And that's the only
thing is
reason I put any time into it, is because I did buy it.
Yeah, no, I
that's
mean,
what-
you're absolutely right. Maybe it's as you said, you feel it's like the obligatory thing. You're like, oh, well, I did just drop this much on it. I guess I'll play it, and
I'll
so
enjoy this game, I
right,
guess.
and that's the thing is that when I played it, it was Aiden Pierce. The problem I had a lot, and she knows it, is I love to make fun of inappropriately voiced characters. Aiden Pierce was not a well-written character at all. He was
In
such
every
garbage to me.
sense. In
He was
every
such garbage
sense.
to me. I'm
You
sorry.
should
Like,
have heard the banter
I-
that
I would
go
make
on
up-
during this
like I would just make up so many bullshit one-liners for Aiden Pierce because he was awful. The guy that did the voice, he did not have enough
made up a
well-written
song about
lines.
it.
I mean, literally, like he was what Batman didn't need to be and never was the way that Christian Bale portrayed him. Because Aiden Pierce was a cold-hearted individual who, when he spoke, he had very little to say, and basically he's one of those guys that when he speaks, you just think that he's saying his own name to you because he's such like a tattered past kind of guy. Like,
Matt Damon.
yeah, you talk. It's just like, I'm Aiden Pierce, and I'm like, oh my god, dude, really? Like, we
There's
know.
a YouTube video you found of a remix.
Yeah,
of
yes,
him,
of
and
him.
It was so funny. It was
Eh,
so bad.
But it's just, again, it sucks that it's love, hate are my top 3, and the irony of it, because it's self-explanatory. The game is still good at a base level. The game is still good. I won't deny that. They had a great product, but on PC, that's a whole different situation. I had it on the Xbox One, so
It is, I
I
mean-
can't.
It ran
can't
like
say
shit on PC, which didn't help.
Yeah.
But god damn it,
Right.
I couldn't build up any kind of empathy or I
No, of
just
course.
didn't give a shit about Aiden Pierce. He
No.
didn't give a shit about his own family, and he just
what I'm
sounded
saying.
bored. The
I knew I
guy
wasn't
sounded
alone in
bored.
that. I knew I wasn't alone in that. And then
emotions.
it's funny. I finished the game, and that's when I started reading all the talk online from PC Gamer, IGN, Kotaku, of everybody
What
already
could
being
have
like,
been?
oh, well, they're talking about what the game could have been, and then what Watch Dogs 2, because it's already been signed as an official title, is going to incorporate. And I don't care. I don't honestly have a single bit of care in my body at all. At all. Seriously, that's how bad it is.
Inversely, Ezio Auditore, John Marston, 2 of the best voiced characters in any video games.
John
I
Marston, yeah.
love them.
Definitely.
And that's the thing is that you would expect a really powerful narrative from a game that's heavily story driven, and something like that is a lot of the rage right now. Communities like, I mean, for God's sake, they did the whole bit where they satired Anonymous in that game. I mean, when we're at the
Dead
culture, the culture is we're sort of. What's the word I'm looking for? We're sort of caught up in the hype of hackery and first world PC nerds that turn into hacktivists. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's
Yeah,
really going on
Hacktopia,
lately.
right? I mean, there's so much of that the game offered a world of seeing what a future dystopia of online life could seem. You know what I mean? And that was great. But here we are now, and I'm like, why do I even have this title? For Christ's sake, it's not downloaded on either of our Xbox Ones. It's
No.
just sitting there in my queue because I deleted it. I just don't care to play it. So
I had a hard drive fail and never bothered downloading it again. I don't give a shit.
You know what I mean? It's like I got the achievements, and if I had the disc, I metaphorically just did this to it. Like I just didn't care. So
Thanks for the achievements.
yeah, I mean, basically. So thank you for the $60 achievements, studio.
And
you guys
60
did great.
hours I'll never get back.
Yeah, no, basically. So then that leads me to, I guess, what would be inevitably my number one, and it is the ultimately no. I mean, unfortunately, because remember I was going off of the notion of not playability, but more of what I was looking for, and it's the ultimate nostalgia. You should already know the game, the most broken title of 2014, and my favorite,
A bold statement.
and the most frustrating game on console for the Xbox One that made so many people go out and just buy it only to return it is Halo: The Master Chief Collection. And I bought it, and it was nostalgia ultra. It was the game. It was the end all be all for me because it was the game that got me into consoles at all. In 2002, when I got the original Xbox and I had Halo, it was just, that was it. That was all she wrote right there. That's how it started for console games for me, like for shooting console games rather. Because I mean, I had Sony's PlayStation and Nintendo 64, but playing Perfect Dark and 007 GoldenEye held not even a candle to the original Halo on the Xbox.
Really, man? GoldenEye,
though. No, I'm
GoldenEye.
sorry. I mean, that's just
I'd
me.
agree. Halo, man, yeah.
Seriously, never before had a shooter had a story that had you compelled to want to know more about the first, the actual protagonist. That was what did it for me.
It was cool, man. It was just cool.
was.
There was nothing
The game
else.
was cool. I mean, come on. Okay, Blade. When in the history of ever, when we're talking about GoldenEye and Perfect Dark, did Steve Jobs come out and talk about the title at every conference for Macworld during those years back in the 90s?
So I was watching the
Bill
Japanese
Gates.
press conferences with the subtitles on. That's what I was.
I mean, there was so much hype, and I mean, forget the hype though. It was such a well-developed game from Bungie at the time. Nobody, I mean, what did they say? They said that PCs could not even, or the Xbox rather, could not even run what they initially produced. So I mean, you had a game that was so ambitious and was so different than anything else being done that I fell in love immediately. And then that leads me to cut to 2014 and several Halo games later and all of my hours in competitive gaming. I mean, I was on competitive teams. I went to tournaments for MLG in the US. I've won countless 2v2 tournaments playing Halo 2 and Halo 3 and locally in Texas anyway. And then this comes out, and it shits all over my dreams. Mm-hmm. It came out the day before my birthday. I took off two days of work. 3 days of work technically were taken off in lieu of this game being broken for every single day.
Brilliant.
I mean, it was such a nightmare. And I don't even need to go on because I could rant because how even still where it's at now, there are server problems, connectivity issues. It's just... It is such a nightmare to think that a game that was going to be the most nostalgic game for me just ended up being an utter disaster, And I tried playing it here and there. It lost me. I tried consecutively for weeks, and then here I am now, and we're at this part of 2015, and I can't even really look at it thinking that I want to put time into it. You know what I mean? Yeah. It's a bummer.
Can I let you
all
into a little secret here?
Shoot.
And it's probably going to lose me quite a lot of face, but. I not only hate Halo, I hate Gears of War as well.
Oh well, Gears of War. I'm not.
Gears of War is one of the few games ever that's actually made me feel sick. Can't play it. Really. Is it that bad? It's the motion sickness. I don't know what it is. It's the whole third person thing.
The heavy blur.
I don't know. Yeah. I don't even know what it was, but that and I'm colorblind as shit too, so I can't read the colors. But god damn it, man! I tried that game and I took it straight back. I just wanted to vomit into a bin. And honestly, I didn't think it was that good. Massively overrated. Halo though, the first Halo, that's one of those like desert island discs, man. Like that's a game that.
You see, I was still hanging on to Tribes 2 at that sort of time.
Oh man, you Neanderthal.
I know.
Yeah, that honestly, I mean, Halo was it for me, and I hated because it became like such a sour topic when it was something that, I mean, there was also like a really big, kind of a family-ish memory that was associated with how I ended up getting my first Xbox anyway. and it was linked to more deep.
sentimental as
Yeah,
well.
it was sentimental initially when I was younger. I mean, because I'm 25 now, so I was young enough to really find that having something like that being gifted to me was such a huge deal that it had more sentimental value behind it too.
That's how I feel
So
about
it,
Sims.
and that's the thing is that you have a title like that, and then companies get to the point where they've made so much money, and Bungie and all their success now, here they are. I get it. They passed it on to 343, and for them to take that torch and accept that responsibility of such fandom as the size of the Halo universe, it was such a slap in the face that I couldn't even participate in the forums at all, because I think the true people that were hurt by it were those who had not shit to say. I couldn't even run to the internet and say anything because I felt so disrespected by having not only pre-ordered it but spent 3 weeks trying to actively play the game.
So to get this clear, that's your number one game of 2014.
It is my number one game. I'm going to reiterate it. Number one because 343 made a 4-game possibility with all of their individual engines, every single map, all of their weapons, an actual possibility. That is so ambitious, but I fucking hate it, and I love it, and that's it.
I can't believe your top 3 has been the most broken game of the year.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Watch Dogs. I never thought that would come out of your mouth. What was the third one?
And the third would have been.
Fuck.
Oh my god! Did we already forget what I initially put? It's Destiny. Sorry,
Destiny.
Destiny. So
Of course.
another
huge
Bungie
disappointment
title. Yeah.
I don't know if you guys have seen The Long Dark. That's pretty cool. Another open world survival kind of game.
Oh right.
seen that
Okay.
one.
But it
Yeah,
looks it looks like a watercolor picture. It's kind of cool.
The Long Dark,
And
yeah.
I gave that a bit of a go, and I think it's got a limited lifespan. But what they've done with it is really, really cool. And I mean, it's like 7 Days to Die when that first came out. That was all pre-release and stuff. It came out and you got one map, and now it just generates itself. You know,
Yes.
you can wander for miles, and you don't know what you're going to find. Genuinely, I found that actually it's just a lot of emptiness.
I
But
hadn't heard of that one, so that sounds
7
like
days.
a
It's
read up
really
on.
good.
7 Days is fantastic. Yeah, I absolutely adore that.
I found a mansion the other day in the middle of a desert with a swimming pool and everything. It was huge, this place was. But it was just on its own in the middle of nowhere, yeah.
I like that. Yeah, because you've got
See,
the
I
actual.
like that. I like that kind of aspect in a game whenever it's just kind of like you don't know what to expect.
But what was cool was I paid like nothing for that. It was like 10 or 12
it's cheap.
quid, right?
It's cheap.
I
It's cheap
bought it.
anyway. When it's on sale, it's
Yeah, it is. And you had one map, and it was basically, I was like, it looks like a kind of cool version of Minecraft with zombies. I was like, I'll go for that. It's actually so much more. It's so much better than that. And then, like every week, pretty much, they're patching it. And the updates, I'd not played for 2 months. I went back on, and it was an auto-generating world. As you explore, it creates its own sort of environments.
I have not yet played a game like that, and so that's why I'm so hyped up for No Man's Sky, because that blew my mind that you can even do that. But apparently, it's already been done. That sounds like something that I'd want to get into. To be completely honest, I just like that, not expecting, like, no one can really tell you what's about to happen. You gotta figure it out.
I think that's why probably the green light titles excite me more than the big hype AAA titles that everyone knows about, because finding one little gem that you're the first person in your sort of little, your gang to kind of find that, and then to get everyone else to click onto it. That's a cool feeling. You kind of
it is.
No one else is playing something, and you've discovered this absolute diamond in the rough, you know.
and then a year and a half later, and it's not even finished. And
Hey,
Yeah.
I mean, that's another story for another time. And that's the problem. I think for me, that's one of the clinches why I couldn't go back to console now. I know you've got the big exclusives, but that's not enough to reel me in anymore. And there was a time where I would buy a console because I wanted one game, Halo, for example. Halo was that good. I bought an Xbox. There was Drake's Fortune and stuff like that made me want to go back to PS3, and I don't feel like that anymore. I think now a lot the stuff that really excites me is a lot of the little indie titles that they kind of just blow up from out of nowhere, like Space Engineers. I've not played it in a few months, but looking at the changes they've made, it's just the depth of thought that's gone into that. These guys are just insane, it's incredible. And that's a small indie studio, and you just like, if they can do that, then why aren't games like DayZ? Why is that still just a half-assed finished?
Yeah, you know.
Well,
gotta
because the lead
wonder.
developer left. I think that's got a big thing to do
It's
with
not
it.
his fault. I think that's probably why he left. I mean, you've got a team that's that big, and you've got every month you've got more guns. They're putting towns. There's just towns. I don't even know Chernobyl anymore. I don't recognize it. And I from playing like Arma 2, man, I knew that map like the back of my hand. You could plonk me in anywhere on the map, and within 2 minutes I'll tell you where I was. But now I don't recognize it. But my issue with it is it's what they're developing at the rate they're developing it. And this is a big thing with games. It's like DayZ highlights this, but why have you got zombies that can still walk through fucking walls, and you're spending your time making me new guns and new towns? Just
Exactly.
fix the basics first.
Prioritize.
It is, yeah, you find a house to escape into, you close the door behind you, and boop, he's right next to you.
He's breaking through the floor, for God's sake.
The
Like, I've
last
seen
time I
that.
was on, anytime someone when you combine your bandages and combine your ammo, I can hear somebody the other side of the fucking map doing that. There's still rabbits.
What?
You'll hit. It's just broken as shit. And you'll hear they've still got zombie rabbits. So you'll have a rabbit near you, and you'll hear, and you're like fuck. And it's not. And that's been there from day one. And you're giving me new guns. I don't want new guns.
You
Fix
can
the
hear
basics.
you can hear a quarter of a mile away, but here's some new guns. Here's some new guns.
Yeah.
Awesome.
You need these. You need these.
Yeah. You would you like a new town? No, I'd like zombies not to walk through closed doors.
No. That's
Well,
That'd be too realistic
Is
for
that too much
a survival
feature?
simulator.
Is that too much to
Feature,
ask?
yeah.
yeah, it's a feature.
Yeah.
It's
So
part of the
zombies
feature
under
list.
floors hitting you. That's always a classic as well.
General, I mean, because see, I hate to say that a lot of what we're trying to do is also now catering to somewhat of an audience, but it's turning into a thing now where, if we have any real success from what we're trying to generate a following on Twitch, is that I hate to say it, until I have or even Vixen has more of a dedicated following per stream, that it's going to be right. Well, that, and it's going to be hard for us to truly cater a solid audience to a game that no one plays. Just for lack of better terms, you know what I mean? Because it's like if I want to pick up,
no one watches. It's
right?
not that no one's playing it.
It's no one's watching it. No one's finding it
Yeah, that's
actually
the
worth a
difference.
damn to view the game, right? So it's like if I want to sit down and play Far Cry 4 in
It's high up
6
there
months,
usually.
right? Like let's say in 6 months, and there's only 200 viewers on average watching it, then that means as a I guess a better suited content provider with maybe even more than 1,000 followers, you could on any given night have 20, 30, 40 people watching an actual playthrough. Then it makes me want to go back and play games like that for the sake of showing people what it's like.
Following, so it's not going to be like you're going to be playing and only a few people will be watching. So
Right.
you might as well not stream. You might as well just play. But
Right,
when
right.
you have more of a following, people are just going to watch whatever you want to play.
Exactly.
The truth
Nothing
is,
to
though,
do
I
with-
think you've got two types of streamers. You've got the guys that are fucking awesome at playing games, and then you've got the guys that are there to cater to the audience.
Yeah.
And
Right.
they're the ones, they're doing the call outs, they're doing, doing the giveaways, and they're looking for people to hit the sub button. And then you've got the other guys that are just fucking world class players. And
they're
they,
professional.
Yeah, they're professionals, or they're really
They're
enthralled.
that
They're
good.
that like in love
Yeah.
with what they do and how they play
They're
games.
doing the most.
I would agree. No, 100%. I mean, because even I'm not quite as. I mean, I guess it comes with age, though. I mean, not necessarily, because there are people that would debate that. Because I mean, like I said, me being 25, I think a lot of my young childlike love for gaming has gone, but now I play it for different reasons. I want to be compelled by a story. So if I'm not sitting down to play a mindless Call of Duty match or a competitive game, because I won't lie, I mean, Rev, literally 2 of the try-hardy, doing it for growth and an audience type of things, Vixen and I are actual guilty of doing. I mean, we just got our channels to 300 followers each in 4 weeks' time, playing
We're not
games that
doing it
no
the
one
wrong
cares.
way. I'm not
I-
shoving my boobs up to my chin.
Right, and I
That
wouldn't
always
necessarily.
Yeah.
Yeah,
it
and
would help, but it
I
would be
wouldn't
nasty.
necessarily say
It
that
helped
even
me.
I've thought about doing that.
Yeah, see, and that's the thing, is I wouldn't even say that it's that we're trying to directly cater to an audience, but I do want to be conscious of, well, if people are following me for enjoying Skyrim, I want to play another game that can put them in the realm of enjoying what I'm playing too. Because if we're going to stream and not just play for leisure, I want it to be interesting content to watch, and that's something that it's tough to find these
I
days.
can't wait for No Man's Sky because that's gonna be perfect. I
For
mean,
that.
there's literally infinite content that people will be able to watch that they may
Something
or may
new.
not ever
Something new.
see when
Yeah.
they play. day.
That's so true. Something
That's
new
gonna
every
be
day.
so fun to see what other people are literally discovering in the game. And not only that, I mean, the animals that are generating, they're not doing it based on skins or body type. They're doing it based on skeletal structure, which is ingenious because a lot of just regular like anything that has a pulse has very similar skeletal structures. Our skeletal structure is very similar in some regions of our body to random mammals and reptiles. So they can have one skeletal structure for something of an animal that is domesticated and just blow it out of the water with all of these other that they slightly resemble each other, but they're so very different. Very different. And it's generated live during the game. So that just blows my mind, just being able, and the fact that you can go to the planet. Whereas I know on Eve, right, you don't land on any of the planets, right? Where this same infinite universe that's ever expanding, which I read in an article that they were going to use the as the chemical makeup of the game, the actual periodic table, but they realized it would be a little too complicated to cater to the gameplay. It would be really distracting, so they modified it, but a lot of the elements are the same as in our actual periodic table in the actual universe. So just that alone, it gives it a realistic vibe that when you're going around, you're actually exploring, and for people to watch that, it would be so much fun. I would be watching people while I'm streaming it. I mean, that'd be amazing.
Stress testing those servers is going to be a bitch.
I can't even imagine. I'm worried about that.
Oh, another thing that I read that I thought was insane. They were going to try and make this game, everything in the game, because the creation of the content itself doesn't take very much space at all. They were going to try and make the game 16 megabytes.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Or something like that. Something ridiculous.
Small.
But the reason that they couldn't was because of ships, weapons, wear at all.
Yeah, it had to be disc-based.
Those are the things that make it. They're going to make this game 4 gigabytes.
Yeah, and that's it, because basically
between 4 and 6.
Because what they wanted to do, like the developers, I remember, because I'm trying to think of what the key.
Small.
Yeah, it's supposed to be because you haven't technically. This is what they say. If you watch like interviews and you read articles about the game and interviews and editorials that they've done on it, they go on to say that like the lead developer of Hello Games says that the coding for the game is structured around a perceived universe that is it's everlasting, it's ever populating, it's consistently changing. Things that you will see, they have not seen, and thus were not created by them. So it's completely being built as you are playing.
Exciting.
Simultaneously, you're playing. The world is creating itself around you.
Yep.
Skynet is here.
That's what I'm saying. It's like they had a whole interview that they're talking about how their game is actually so based in real science that they have structured all sorts of concepts into being based off theories from real life concepts of physics, science in general, which is crazy.
So I mean, absolutely crazy.
It's
right.
amazing.
So, and that's the thing is you're living in this perpetual universe. I know. See, it's exciting.
I have so much.
It is exciting just thinking about it.
They're even making the only planets that you're not going to necessarily. Well, no, they said that they were going to have completely gaseous planets like there are in reality. But they thought that it would be superfluous to have planets that you can't land on and planets that you can land on. So what they did was they made gaseous planets that you can land on, but they changed the gravity of it, and the look of it looks gaseous, and the planet is not very big.
Right.
Versus other planets, which he was saying in one of his interviews that what he really wants is to see people not, because they were talking about an end game. Like, is there an end game to this? Well, technically there is, because people wanted it so badly. It's in the center of the universe. There's an odd-shaped planet, so that's where your end game would be. But what they're wanting you to do is travel on the outside planets and take time to see how long it takes to walk around an entire world.
Right.
And then shoot off and go somewhere else.
Yeah, because it's procedural, because it's a procedural game. So that's the thing, is that if it's procedural, everything you're doing, and as you're going about your playthrough, you land on a planet, you could be on that one planet for in what would real time be, years. 10 hours. It could be 10 hours of you sitting down, and it would take you that long on one planet to explore any and everything you could. You leave that, and then you're back into the stars, and then you're looking at something that's completely different.
Ship, which your ships can be modified. You can get upgrades. It's amazing. I mean, look at this one. This is a skeletal structure used. and look at the difference. I mean,
so all the characters are based on the same skeleton, but they're completely unique in nature.
The fishes are what really blew me
but
away.
It's gonna be. I honestly think this could be a huge contender for
skeletal
potential for Game of
structure.
the Year 2015 because it's going to be pretty wild. It's going to be
like some of the girls around here.
Really, really wild title.
Oh man, I'm so excited.
Yeah, it's gonna be good. So I mean, I think that's one that if there's any way to even kind of signify the final topic of a podcast right now, it would be that if there's one game that you guys think could have potential for a really, really successful game this year, what do you think it would be?
No Man's Sky.
No Man's
There it is.
Sky.
Right. So, okay, yeah. So see,
You don't know how you sold it to me.
They haven't released it yet. They're just saying it's coming out this year. I'm like, it better not be on December 31st because I'll be fucking pissed off.
End of the year, right? But I'm just hoping that type of game, as ambitious as it is, will be a great success because, it looks exceptional, and I'm really looking forward to it. So I'd have to say that No Man's Sky is it for me, and just after all of despite the hype, it's from an indie studio. It should be something...
From nowhere.
Yeah, it should be something that's unique. It really should be. So that's what I'm hoping.
It's been in the works. It was in the works in secret, literally in a secret room for like a year and a half, and then they started talking about it, so we didn't even know about it. It was already in the works. Imagine how big this game is going to be. I'm just really excited about it.
It's going to be good.
I think we can say that all round.
The fear is, though, after 2014, will it be everything it promises?
Well, it'll probably get pushed back to about 2018.
Right. Will we be playing it in 2020 years to come? Like, is it actually something that you can explore infinitely, as they say? But apparently their algorithms are foolproof, and they're going to be something that's going to work.
It's been played already. There's people already playing it. They're doing the details of weaponry and spaceship models. It's just like,
I guess that's the exciting aspect, is just think of all the games, like for example, you playing Eve. Now imagine just being in No Man's Sky and you, Blade, going to a planet that Vixen and I have never been to. Mm-hmm. We have never seen and never will see, possibly. I
like that thought.
That's insane.
I really
do. The other players in the universe, should they come across it, it gets timestamped by you as being the discoverer of that planet, which is nuts.
Thing that I read.
It'll say that. It'll say Blade was the discoverer or the initial landing on this planet, and that's crazy.
And because the multiplayer is so far away, because the multiplayer is so far away, and the chances of you, they said the chances of you coming in contact with one of your friends on the same world is the same as us coming in contact with alien life.
Yeah, basically, it's so
on the same world, kind of thing. Of course, a little bit exponentially drop down, but anyway. They were saying that they're wanting to set up. This was actually a tweet that I read very recently from the developer. They're wanting to do a message system where you leave items on a world for people to come across. Not just timestamp when you discover things, but it's almost like, he mentioned a game, and I cannot remember what it was, but apparently there was a game where on your gravestone when you died, you could leave a message. You could write something on a gravestone whenever your character died before it respawned. Well, they're wanting to have the same kind of concept where you can leave an item or you can have some sort of a monument. If you have the ability to do so, or the strength or the money, or however they're going to set that up, you can leave messages on planets for people to come across and see. So you can be like, "Hey, dude, what planet are you on? Oh, I've been there. I've left a message. Head to this section, this terrain of this planet, and go check it out."
Yeah,
50-foot cock Blade was here.
Yeah, there's gonna be a lot of trolls for sure. But that's probably the most exciting aspect of it, I think. So that's gonna be. I honestly believe could have Game of the Year potential. I'm not going to get too far ahead of it and say like
front
it will
and back,
be.
And it doesn't even have a release date.
Yeah, it's got a lot of.
That's crazy.
There's a lot of hype, and that's what worries me. But I also think that they're doing it smart, and it was being privately developed for almost 2 years beforehand. Mm-hmm. So
before they even talked about it.
You can just hope that the major studios getting a hold of it aren't going to completely ruin it. But we'll see.
We'll see.
You better not fuck that game up for me. I'm gonna be pissed off. It's me one angry gamer girl.
Yeah, they'll be held to pay. Held to pay.
Rev, did you have anything you want to add before we wrap up?
I'm probably with you guys. I mean, after the year we've had with sort of 2014, I'm kind of suspecting more of the same. I'm looking forward to where some of the Greenlight games that I'm playing now are actually going to end up when they're finished. That will be kind of awesome. Mm-hmm. But in terms of what they're proposing to release, I'm so dubious now after all the half-assed broken
it is hard to
releases
trust.
of 2014.
in 14.
So it's tough to say,
Gotta
but yeah,
bring
I'm
it back.
probably with you guys on that. You've kind of sold that to me. It's not something I'd followed or really read up on, so
You should go to the website for that game. The articles that are involved, the science that they put into this guy, because it didn't even start out, it was secret in a secret room for 4 years, but this guy was developing it for a year while they were developing the other game. I forgot what it's called that Hello Games is so popular for.
Yeah, they have some other game that they did.
And so in his office as a side thing, he was developing this, and then he brought it to a team a year later, and they worked on it for 2 more years. And now they're continuing to work on it to release it this year sometime.
Hopefully.
I don't think it started the same way that the other ones did, so I'm a little more hopeful for it, but also I'm just so excited about the game. I'm just kind of like, don't tell me.
Yep.
But then on the other side of things, I mean, there's similar things that they've sort of tried, but not on the same sort of scale. I mean, like Mass Effect had some of those elements in there too.
Yeah.
So it'll be interesting to see where it actually goes and if it's achievable with what they're actually.
If they can pull it off,
ambitious.
it's
Like
going
I
to
said,
be
it's a
absolutely
passive film.
phenomenal game.
Yeah,
Absolutely
potentially.
phenomenal.
Yeah,
Potentially,
there's not
and
gonna
that
be
is the
anything.
thing. And don't pre-order or early access it. That's
Yeah,
Yeah, no
I would
pre-orders.
probably not. We're just going to wait and see what the final product is going to...
Let's throw away pre-orders with 2014 year.
Yeah, that might be
That year's
Definitely.
over as our pre-orders.
definitely.
Agreed. But,
Okay, then.
So I have to ask then, with the competition for the Evolve draw, so
Indeed.
that is what I'm wondering. Who are we able to enlighten to this being a thing? I mean, can we spread the word and let people know, hey, you know what, check the
course.
website out, get
Yep.
involved. That's
By all
okay.
means. Yep.
Good stuff.
Yeah, it's open to anyone as long as you're signed up to that mailing list before the end of the month, before the end of January 31st. You're in with a chance.
Sweet.
That's perfect.
Cool.
Yeah.
That's good news. That's super exciting. And all right, guys, this has been probably the most productive podcast I've been involved with, and a
The
duo,
first one I've ever done.
a duo one, no less. But this is Bruiser signing off officially. It was an absolute pleasure. We covered so much. Hopefully, not too much information for the first one. But
Always too
I think
much.
for Revision 1, Edition 1, we did great. You guys, by all means, feel free to follow me at twitch.tv/Bruiser, spelled BRUZUR. I'm a growing channel, relatively small at the moment, but definitely looking to make some big waves here in the future. And also on Twitter at the THE_technocrat, TECRONA. TAC. I'm fucking up on the spelling. I'm trying to plug.
NOCRAT.
There we go.
Technocrat.
I don't use my Twitter enough, so I'll
He
have
Links on your
I'll have
Twitch
Dixon
though,
fill
right?
that in.
Yeah, I'll spell it out for you guys. And then if you guys want to follow me, I'm linked on his Twitch page. I am Hidden Vixen, HIDDENVIXEN. So come and follow me. I just do a lot of casual stuff. And then my Twitter is the reverse of that, Vixen Hidden. And so follow me on there. And I usually post fun stuff from Game Informer and other things, and then tell you when I'm going to stream.
Oh yeah, definitely.
So that'd be really great.
Awesome.
Reverend?
Got ours.
Hello.
Yay!
Hello.
And scene.
And scene.
It's been an
Got it.
absolute pleasure. Thank you very much, guys. Mine's pretty easy. It's the Reverend BJ. Don't ask why.
Bam. No
all
questions.
one word, no spaces. Twitter and Twitch.
Perfect.
Because I'm that guy. So that's the Reverend BJ. Don't
Beautiful.
bother following me. I'm quite boring.
And it's been a pleasure having all three of you here. I've been Blade. You can catch me at youtube.com/Blade Gaming, Twitch/Blade Gaming. No, it isn't. Sorry, it's Blade666 on Twitch. On Twitter, it's Blade Gaming as well. And of course, red.gamers.co.uk. Check out the mailing list, sign up, get involved in that Evolve draw. Thank you all for listening, and until next time, we shall see you later.